Happy Sunday!
Happy
Sunday!
Welcome back, and hello, colleagues. You're welcome to another episode of Dungeon Manager, Work From Home Edition. Thank you so much for joining. Whether you're new or returning, welcome to the office to our second ever one-shot. And this time, we're taking a little detour. We are exploring the world of Theros, and ahead of the release of the brand new D&D sourcebook, we'll be exploring the world of the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. The world itself is taken from Magic the Gathering and inspired by the myths and legends of ancient Greece. It contains brand new rules for running adventures in Theros, new subclasses, magic items, monsters, and allies, and some really gorgeous artwork and an extensive delve into its lore. Honestly, the passion that's being poured into this project is evident on every page. So it's currently available digitally on D&D Beyond, but it's also available for pre-order when the book comes out on the 21st of July. So honestly, we're not being paid to say this, but you should absolutely check it out. It's well worth it. For those of you who might be new to the game, a very brief overview of Dungeons & Dragons. So Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing game where you assume the role of a character that you create, and you steer your character through decisions, riddles, encounters, all that kind of stuff. And to ascertain your victories, you use dice to determine whether you're successful or sometimes, unfortunately, not. And guiding your way through the world and inhabiting the other creatures and characters that you meet, there is a Dungeon Master. And basically, it's ultimately collaborative storytelling between friends and escapism through community, which I think we can all agree is something that the world needs a lot of right now. So hopefully we can provide that for you today. But before we start, we have some thanks that are in order. First, as always, a huge thank you to our assistant dungeon managers on Patreon, Graham Muir and Rory O'Sullivan. Your continued support means the world to us. If you'd like to see how they're supporting and how you can support, if you're so inclined, you can check out our Patreon below. Also, a huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast for helping promote this episode and for allowing us to play a little bit in their world today. We're very excited. I'm a bit nervous, but we're also very excited.
We are all nervous.
And finally, a huge thank you to the artist behind our amazing character portraits, Yancey. You can find more of his work on Twitter at Art by Valence. He's currently open for commissions, and we've linked his I always want to say Ko-Fi, but it's
I
coffee.
think it's just coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
It makes sense, but I might be wrong.
We've linked his coffee below. And it's a tough time for artists the world over at the moment. So if you want to support his work, and not to mention you'll snag yourself a fairly badass character portrait as well, we can't recommend him highly enough. Finally, of course, this is just a one-shot. We have our main campaign. It's on YouTube, but also available in podcast form on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. We'll be wrapping up season 1 of our campaign, and we'll be setting sail for newer waters very soon. So it's a perfect time to jump on. We'd love to have you as part of the office. And I think that's it. So without further ado, I believe it's time to start as we travel through the eyes of the Oracle. Come, travel. Journey through the dark, infinite skies where legends, heroes, and great deeds are traced amongst the stars. Soar through the clouds where eagles and pegasi glide, surveying all who walk and swim below. Dive into the deep blue waters of the Siren Sea, home to the colourful coral forests, the dark oceanic trenches, and the amphibious tritons. Walk the green lands where centaurs run through long grass, satyrs cavort through woods of twisting fig trees, and humans build their polys, great cities of artistic ingenuity and technical accomplishment. And swirling all about the mortal plane, Nyx, the realm of gods and dreams, and the underworld, a place of unspoken and unending torment. This is Theros. This is a world built on the backs of mythical heroes, legendary monsters, and the powerful and petulant deities that influence it. But not only that, it is a world of stories. A world where stories, dreams, and even gods are made manifest by those that walk this world, believed into being by those that live and breathe and love and hope. A world where the literal power of creation and the construction of reality itself lies only within the limits of human imagination. But for now, we leave the wider world behind. Our story begins on the hidden isle of Pytho, a small island that to many is little more than myth, its inhabitants a mystery and their intentions secret. Surrounded by clear blue-green waters and beaches of white sand, its wildlife is lush and green, with sprawling forests of olive, fig, and cypress trees. And as one ventures deeper into the island, the woods rise to meet a squat, flat-topped mountain. And the air of the region is balmy, the sun smiling down on all from a spotless blue sky. But at its center, at the peak of the mesa, something dark is stirring. And off its sandy shores, out in distant seas, a mighty storm has been raging, the sky and waters clashing as though Keranos and Thassa themselves are at war. Grey clouds swirl above and jet-black waves crash below, lightning slicing through the landscape in marvelous white. And in the midst of all this, fighting against the battling elements, a ship named Khaleesi. A great wooden ship, its bow decorated with 2 large painted eyes of green and its white sailed, shuddering in the wind as it bucks across the wave. And through the rain and lightning, a voice can be heard. A voice and a vision. The vision of a young girl. Tan skin, wide green eyes, and the long black hair. She wears a white robe and stands upon a mosaic floor surrounded by shadow. And she is screaming. It is to one of you this vision comes. For inside Khaleesi there are 5 passengers. You 5. And despite the torment and tumult outside, you sleep, unaware that Clothes's twisting threads of fate have drawn you together. For whether you know it yet or not, you are one. And as you sleep below deck after hours, maybe even days of the storm, the winds begin to slow, the seas outside steady, and the crackle of the skies abates. It is calm. And from all around, as you each begin to wake, you hear the gentle lapping of waves and the cry of seagulls. And as you begin to stir, the salt air filling your lungs. Billy, would you like to give us your character name, describe their appearance, and give us their preferred pronouns?
My character is female, so she, they. Her name is Cerelia. She is a centaur. And she carries with her a bow, a great bow. She has long, dark hair and very brown skin. She's very young. And she is of a curious nature. And her journey on what the centaurs call a protoporus, which is to wander until as an adult, you find your place in society. And she is of age, and she has been traveling for a little while now. And she's still looking for her place in the world. So, as you wake, your blanket slips off you and you take stock of your surroundings. And you notice you're inside the wooden hull of a ship. And you can see barrels and coils of rope off to one side. And just off, sort of a little way, there are stairs leading up to sunlight, which streams down the stairs. And above you, swinging in time with the ship as it rocks gently back and forth, you see unlit oil lanterns swaying. And there's very little else in this ship. The ship that, despite your best endeavors, you don't really remember boarding. And as you look around, you see 2 other shapes, both covered in blankets, one somewhat larger than the other. The larger one sits at the other end of the ship, but directly opposite you, a rather smaller bundle, covered in blankets. And as you look down, you can see that just underneath, peeking out and twitching ever so slightly, 2 furry goat legs. And as the blanket is slowly pulled back. Michael, would you like to give us your character name, their appearance, and their preferred pronouns?
So my character is called Ionis, or Io for short. He is a satyr, so he has the goat legs, the horns, and is very hairy. He has a sort of almost chin strap beard, but with a little bit of a tuft goatee at the bottom. He has wild hair, horns with a rainbow ring on the left-hand side, I think. Can't remember. And he has amber eyes. He wears very intricately embroidered green armor, and his chest hair puffs out of the top. And his pronouns are he, him.
So, Ionis, as you wake, you see that right directly next to you there are a number of bottles rolling across the floor, and this strikes you as somewhat odd. You don't really remember drinking last night. In fact, the more you think about it, you don't really remember much from the previous night. As you look around, you see the ship around you, the interior of this hull. And as you look up, you see a much larger figure in front of you. Half human, half horse, looking down at you with somewhat inquisitive eyes.
Did you bring us onto this ship?
Me? Who are you?
I'm Io. Who are you?
My friends call me Sasa.
Nice to meet you, Sasa. So, were you that attracted to me that you had to kidnap me and bring me aboard?
I don't even know who you are or how I got into this ship.
Wow, I must be doing well.
Sasa stands and starts to take a good look around and see where the stairs are.
Okay, so you can see them off to one side, and as you walk across, being on the sea is a little unsteady, even as softly as the boat is rocking. And Io, you watch from where you are as there's this slight sort of, as the hoofs just try to find their purchase a little bit. And as this noise echoes around the interior of the hull, Sasa, you see off to the other end another figure start to stand. And as they do so, the blanket slipping off their hindquarters. Jess, would you like to give us your character name and describe their appearance and their preferred pronouns?
Certainly. So my character's name is Ajar Avensis, or Ajar for short. Her preferred pronouns are she, her. She is also a centaur, but she looks a little bit different to Sasa. She has white hair, white skin, white horse fur hair, I guess, as well. She's a little bit older, not quite middle-aged, but sort of like a, sort of mid-30s in centaur years, which I've already forgotten whether or not they are the same as human years or not.
Yeah, they are.
They are, thank you. It always helps to have somebody else playing the same.
You work.
Yes. And she's got a rather woodsy sort of look around her, not someone you see in a city a lot. There's probably a few twigs in her hair. And she's got a large satchel sort of around her horse waist as well.
So, as you walk forward, Sasa and Io, as you sort of stir a little bit and you find another bottle underneath your back and you just sort of shift a little bit, you both watch as this very pale figure stands up at the other end of the ship. And looking around, you can tell that where she is sat and has just got up from is the stern of the ship. And she slowly begins to stand to her very impressive full height.
Who are you?
Good morrow. I am Ajar Avensis. What is this place?
Apparently we're on a ship, though how we got here I don't know.
Thank you, my centaur brethren. I see we are also here with a satyr.
Yeah, the less I talk to him, the better, if I'm honest. Not knowing where I am or how I got here is not doing really any good for my temperament, so the sooner I get some answers, the better I'll feel. Do you remember how you got here?
Do I remember how I got here?
Make a history check.
Yes, dice. Although I do not have any physical dice, so I'm using the amazing. So I have a -1 to history because I'm not very intelligent. But luckily I rolled a 17, which means a 16 for that history check.
17. So you remember bits and pieces. It feels very much in the corners of your memory as though stepping through fog. You can see shadows moving in amongst this, but for the most part, it's hard to grasp onto anything tangible. But you vaguely remember wooden piers, vaguely remember docks, and something in your mind, as you're looking at Sasa before you and you look at Io behind, something feels familiar about them. It's hard to exactly pinpoint what, but it feels familiar.
Do I get the feeling that I am on the boat with my consent?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, certainly as you look at these others, there doesn't appear to be any ill will felt towards them. It feels like, however this journey started, it was done so willingly.
I feel perhaps we may have met before, although it seems like a dream. Do you have any recollection, Satyr, of how we got here?
Do I have any recollection?
Could you also make a history check for me?
9.
Again, pockets. But there is one face that you do see in amongst this fog. Quite a familiar one to you. White hair, sort of fairly tan skin, but you don't really remember the other two at all.
I can't say I do, my love, I'm sorry. Just remember that my friend should be around here somewhere. In my experience, dreams tend to be trouble.
How intriguing. Should we go above deck?
Well, we should probably see if we can find her. She's quite handy in situations like this.
Very well. Is she like yourself, a satyr?
No, she's her own special kind of thing.
I will look forward to it.
I'm glad. This is going to be fun.
So, you slowly head up onto the main deck. And as you do so, you are greeted with the warm, balmy air of the sea. Looking around, you can see a deck before you, a vast mast in its center with a huge white sail hanging down. And as you look around, you see that the wheel, which would usually be crewed, is not. It seems to just be swaying ever so slightly, not spinning out of control, but just as the boat moves, staying relatively still. But as you look over towards this, Io, you notice a figure that is very familiar to you, and you other two, you see the figure too. Short, fairly squat in comparison to the rest of you. They cross their arms as they look out beyond where you have been. And you see that from where the ship came, there is a vast wall of fog stretching from the water all the way up to the sky. It is grey and it is imperceptible. And as you look over this, Catherine, would you like to give us your character's name, describe their appearance, and their preferred personal pronouns?
Gosh. Right. So, Marillion. She has, well, you've described a little bit. She is a dwarf with tan skin and white hair that's kind of wavy with a few braids in. She's got a tattoo on her face, which is 2 blue lines that run parallel down the forehead, and then 3 dots on the chin that go downwards. She's wearing she's strong looking, I should mention that. And she's wearing sort of some leathers, and considering how warm it is, just a little bit of fur.
So, as you stand there, sort of unaware of the other three behind you, you look out at the sea, and you look out at the wall of fog that lies behind you, and you think on the storm. You think on the storm that rocked the boat, the storm that for the most part you were asleep with, and when you woke, you saw Io lying near you, and three others with you, three that you could not remember, three you do not recognize despite your best abilities. And as you came up onto deck, you remember you came here after dreaming of a young girl stood on a mosaic floor and screaming against the darkness. You other three, you see as she just stands there. Io, you're rather used to this stoicism, but she stands at the stern of the deck looking out, not taking any heed of any of you.
Can I take out my lyre?
Mm-hmm.
And then I start playing it and go, toss a drachma to your oracle, O veil of Skola, O veil of Skola, oh. That usually gets her attention.
I do not give my attention.
Us just goes, I'm not surprised you call that music.
Well, shit. Called out this early in the morning, I'm hurt.
What's her name? I turned
Marillion.
No, I asked you in character to you, sorry. Io. I speak to you. So...
Yeah, I answered you.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were just telling me like out of game.
No, it was in the accent, Billy. I know the accent's bad, but seriously, you need to stop calling me out.
In Dwarvish, I turn and say, are you Marillion?
Let me just double check. I assume I speak Dwarvish. Yes, I
I should hope so.
do. Interesting character for the future there.
Yeah.
Dwarf who doesn't
A
speak
dwarf
Dwarvish.
that doesn't speak Dwarvish.
Yeah. What was the question you asked?
I said, are you Marillion?
So I don't turn around, but you just hear a yes.
Did you bring us on this boat?
Now I turn around. No.
So, some perfect strangers, some who know each other, happen to be in a boat. And I'm looking for answers because this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't have a lot of recollection on how this went, and I try to remember.
Make a history check. As the three individuals are facing you, Marillion, you look beyond them towards the bow of the ship, and you see, standing at its very front, looking out at all that lies beyond, another figure. Diane, would you like to introduce your character, give us their name, describe what they look like, and their preferred pronouns?
Okie dokie. My name is, I'm Irene Sabalat, and I am a Triton. I am petite in build. I have turquoise skin, and I have hair that looks black for the most part, but when the sun shines on it, there are little flecks of green. And I have not actually sure what the technical term for it is, which is a bit bad because I'm a girl, I should probably know, but I don't have quite a crown, but I have like a kind of golden like head.
Like a tiara.
Tiara.
Sort of like a tiara, but it kind of comes across here in front of my hairline.
Like circlet, yeah.
Yes, that thing. And I am wearing I'm not wearing armor. I'm wearing clothing that kind of makes me look almost like a Grecian.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, Marillion, you see this individual standing out near the bow of the ship, and Irene, as you look out over the waves, can I ask you to make a perception check? In the meantime, Billy, what did you roll?
Quite frankly, an accurate 4.
The fog surrounding your memories is overwhelming. You see not even shapes in them. This boat is entirely new to you. Diani, what did you roll?
I rolled a 19.
19, okay. So, looking out at the horizon, one of the things that has struck you as you've been travelling on this ship is it moves of its own accord, seemingly. You are used to the waves and you are used to how things move along them, and you are used to the passage of the oceans. This boat moves unnaturally, and as it does so, you can see just on the horizon a shape shimmering. It is large and it is hazy, but it is land. You are slowly moving towards an island. And as you stand there, you're sort of broken out of your reverie a little bit as you hear voices behind you. And you turn and you see individuals you don't really recognize. 2 centaurs, a satyr, and a very short dwarf.
I'm not short for a dwarf.
No. Short by comparison.
Yeah,
How
just
tall
to
are you
make
as a
that
dwarf?
clear.
How tall are you as a dwarf?
5 foot.
Oh my god,
It's
I'm
quite
only
tall for a dwarf.
I'm only just slightly taller than you.
Well,
Also, I forgot to say earlier, I have a giant golden warhammer. I feel like that should have been shown.
I like how we all like blanked that out. We were like,
Yeah.
oh no, you've got to look at the dwarf.
yeah, well, I think me and Jess are comfortably the tallest.
Yeah, finally.
I mean, this is a turn of events.
So, what are you all doing?
Okay.
I think I say, this sounds like an enlightening conversation. I just wish I could understand the language.
I turn to... sorry, what was your name, Diani? I wrote it down, but I can't read my own handwriting.
Arene. It's
Irene.
Arine.
That's not
Okay.
how I spelled it.
That's not how I spelled it
Same.
either.
Rine. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Irene, and I speak in primordial because I am multilingual.
Freaking heck.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I'm literally like the most multilingual centaur you will ever come across. And I say, hello, and who are you?
I reply in primordial. I'm sorry. Don't. You must know who I am. Surely.
I'm gonna chip in primordial. No one knows who you are, sweetie.
Well, honestly, that's a bit rude. Are you sure? You. Okay. Well, for your sakes, I will go through this. I am Irene Sabalaf of the Tritons, blessed by Karanos, god of storms, daughter of Meles and Ronlos Sabalaf. I'm sure that you have probably heard of me somewhere, but
Have I heard
No.
of her?
So, given your previous history check, you are drawing a blank.
I blank face, just totally.
You watch as one of the centaurs in front of you, their ear just flicks fly away as it just looks down at you, Irene.
I look at Io and go, are you getting any of this?
Not a word. It's quite entertaining, though.
Oh, thank
I
goodness.
think the Triton thinks she's more important than she is.
Oh, I see. Are you a good read of people, Master Satyr?
I dabble.
So, what are you all doing? As the ship slowly moves forward, you each notice that the landmass in front of you is getting closer.
I'd like to find out if I remember why we're on a boat.
Okay,
Yeah.
make a history check then.
We're going to the Lonely Island.
Oh, -2. 10.
Again, your one anchor in all of this is Io. You remember him, you remember the water, you vaguely remember planks, but little else.
You vaguely remember hitting me with planks.
I'm going to turn back to face the oncoming island and cross my arms in exactly the way that I was standing earlier.
So nobody knows where we're going.
Well, I'm going to land. First time I've ever been. Very excited.
I just turn and give a very quizzical look. And then
Are you
just
still
don't say
speaking in
anything.
primordial?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
I'm just leaning on Ajar, being like, well, this is, you know.
Yeah.
I, realizing that perhaps no one understood what I was saying to Irene, and I just say, well, this is Irene. I don't know her, and I don't think she knows anybody, but she seems to think she's very important.
I knew it!
But she doesn't. I don't think she knows where we're going either, since I don't think she's ever been on land.
Honestly, you dry folk are just the most curious bunch.
I just.
Is that a compliment? I don't know how to take that.
I think I turn to Irene and say, perhaps in primordial, I think it's best we speak in common for everybody's benefit.
Absolutely, I am well versed in common. I have been learning it for many years. I am sure I'm very capable of communicating with you all.
Do you say
Banana.
that, do you say that in primordial?
No, I say it in common.
Okay.
Your accent is very good, my dear.
That is so kind, you precious dry folk.
Goodness, she's Tahani from the Good
Creature.
Place.
Yes!
Oh, that's wonderful.
I just go, I just go back and say, I'm going to go back to lower deck and check on to see if I have all my equipment that I normally would have had with me on my journey.
You look around, and there doesn't appear to be anything missing from your person, but for good measure, you do go down into the hold. And looking around, it seems that it is pretty much empty. Like I say, there are the blankets and barrels and the ropes, but in terms of your own worldly belongings, they're with you.
Satisfied, I go back up and join everybody. And can I work out how long it's going to take us to get to land?
Yeah, make a nature check for me.
Because that's going to go well. 5.
Sea is not your element, and frankly, you are more than a little anxious to get back on solid land. In terms of how long it will take you, it's hard to tell. The wind itself is moving at quite a pace, especially out here this far out to sea, but it is steady, and while you do not know how long it will take you to get there, probably not long.
If no one is steering and no one knows where we're going, does anyone know how long it will take us to get to land?
I'll see if I know.
So, yeah, make a nature check for me.
I have proficiency in this intelligence -2 category. 6.
Marillion from the stern of the ship just looks over her shoulder and tries to look around, but she doesn't quite want to break the stance she has, and as she looks around, she just sort of tries to gauge it, shakes her head, and goes back to brooding on the stern.
I just want it to look like I didn't try.
Can I walk up just to stand alongside and mirror Marillion's stance? Just go, you're being particularly broody today.
Green eyes, dark hair, young, mosaic floor.
Another dream. Well, it seems we don't have much of a choice in where we're going. I'm assuming it's going to be on that landmass.
Seems so.
All right. Well, I mean, we're on a ghost ship. The gods at least have a sense of humor.
A little smirk.
So, as you slowly make your way towards the island, is there anything anyone wants to be doing before they get there?
Is the direction of the wind, presumably the direction of the wind is blowing, like, towards the island, like it's pushing us that way?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
No, you go ahead.
I was going. Would anybody like a snack before we reach the island?
What kind of snacks do you have?
I have plenty of dried mushrooms in my bag.
What is a mushroom?
Oh, I suppose you don't get them under the ocean. They are, I suppose, rather similar to coral.
Well, in that case, I would be intrigued. Please do provide me with a sample.
Please be a magic mushroom. Please be a magic mushroom.
Would you like poisonous or non-poisonous?
Perhaps non-poisonous would be best to start off with.
Certainly, I never judge. My hand person dried mushrooms.
I will eat the mushroom and immediately spit it out on the floor.
I'd say make a constitution check for me as well.
Me?
Yeah.
No, stop it, PDF. You don't. Okay. It will be a maths 12.
12. You spit it out on the floor, mainly because as it enters your mouth, you sense a slight tingling on your tongue, a sensation you're not really that familiar with. And as you spit it out, you sense an ever so slight swelling just on the top, just where it touched. But the taste was quite nice. The sensation, however, less so.
Tastes great. Little bit of a weird feeling. Not sure about that.
They're an acquired taste of some. It's no problem.
Very grateful for you sharing.
So, your ship continues on. As it does so, your destination becomes a little clearer. For stretching out in front of you, you see a white crescent of sand, a giant beach with blue waves lapping against the shore. And beyond this, you see a mixture of green trees and twisting vines, stretching out into a vast forest, and at its center, above what looks to be a mountain, you can see piercing through the bright blue skies, dark black and grey clouds are swirling into something that looks almost like an eye. And Marilina, as you look at this, you feel thunder in your veins. As you get closer, near the beach, jutting above the tree boughs, you can see what looks to be a rocky outcrop, just jutting out from above the green. And there is a small, what looks to be a white building on top of it, surrounded by white columns, each of them twisted with vines, and a simple roof on top. It's hard to distinguish any details, but as you get closer, you see that there is a lit brazier burning away inside. And eventually, there is as the ship just meets the land and comes to a stop.
I immediately get off as fast as I possibly can.
So you leap off and you are met with waves and very, very soft sand as you slowly make your way onto the dry beach.
I mutter under my breath in Sylvan, thank Nylia. And I
hear that.
Make a perception check.
Probably not. No.
No, seems you just see the leaping off the boat.
So we come up to the beach. I want to see if what is the beach like? Are there sort of hills I can't see, but I have to get to the crest of?
So make a general perception check.
what are the rest of you doing while Sasa is down on the beach?
I would like to make a retroactive stone cunning check on the mosaic floor, please.
Okay.
If possible.
You can, absolutely, do so. So what did you roll, Billy?
Natural 1.
Natural 1. You sort of stagger a little bit, sort of, you're almost having reverse seasickness as you stand on the beach, and even the sand is quite unsteady under your feet. You are mainly focusing on keeping upright at this point. What did you roll, Mary?
I rolled a 19.
19. So the mosaic is a number of different colours, but primarily it is terracotta orange, and you can see shapes in it. Much of it is obfuscated by bits of shadow, but looking at it, you can see a figure making its journey from one point to the other, seemingly in a wide circle, but this is much of what you see. It is mostly darkness, and as you sort of think on the vision, that's all you're able to get from it. So, what are the rest of you doing as the ship pulls up to land?
Can I use one of my mirthful leaps to just jump off the ship?
Oh, of course you can, yes. Do you need to roll anything for that?
I need to roll a d8 because it adds that many meters to my jump distance.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's 3, so I don't know what my normal jump distance is. I'm assuming not very much, but I leap 3 meters at least.
We'll say that as Sasa, you're down on the beach, and as you look up at the very familiar sun, you see, silhouetted against it, leaping through, arms backwards, Naruto style, just Io, just leaping through the air and landing quite gracefully on the sands below. And Io, you can see a number of different shells that have washed up on the shore, some very, very beautiful. And as you look around, you see a few that would probably make quite nice instruments at some point. But it is quiet, eerily so.
I roll my eyes when he jumps off the boat and then walk the long way.
So are you other two joining on the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, eventually, you're all stood on the stand of this mysterious island, looking back at the ship that sits next to you, its green eyes looking out motionless, and its white sail still just blowing gently in the wind.
Did the ship steer itself? Did the wheel move?
It seemed to know where it was going.
But did the wheel move?
It remained mostly in place, just moving incrementally, just every so often.
I start to walk away from the beach to the mainland.
As she does so, the rest of you look around and you're taking in your environment in much the same way. And your eyes are drawn once again to the building that stands. It's on the edge of the beach and it is a little way above you. But as you look, you can see that stood next to this iron-wrought brazier, stood in a white robe, there is a figure looking down at you all. And the figure seems to be female, and she's looking down at each of you. And as she does so, she sort of backs away a little bit and starts to walk out of sight.
I start to follow her.
What are the rest of you doing?
That.
Oh, so we're just going to wander after the strange lady living on the otherwise deserted island. Fair enough.
I mean, you've just jumped off a magical boat that steered itself. We don't know how we got here for the most part, and we're in a strange island. So if you have any better ideas.
But at a certain point, we have to question what the hell we're doing.
Your friend has visions from what you were talking about on the boat.
Oh, you heard that, did you? Eavesdropping, were you? On a private conversation. That's quite rude, you know.
Eavesdropping, can't help but hear. Very indistinguishable at this point.
Are you saying I'm too loud?
I don't respond and I just keep walking.
As you do so, from out of the green undergrowth, you see a figure stepping out rather tentatively,
but looking at each of you. And she's a rather small woman, dark skin, brown eyes, and short black hair. And you note, Aeryn, that around her neck there is a necklace that is covered in small seashells. And she wears a white robe clasped on one shoulder by the gold symbol of an eye. And on the back of her hand you see tattooed, stylized eyes, the irises the same colour as her own. She just steps forward and looks at you all very, very quizzically at this eclectic bunch that have washed up on the shores.
This eye, is it, do I know?
Make a religion check for me.
Oh, okie dokie. That would be a that would be a 14.
14. It is not related to any gods that you know.
Huh, intriguing.
So is this the same person as we saw earlier, or is this a different person?
Looks like the same one who was up on the building. And she stands there, her bare feet on the sand. And as she looks at each of you, who are you?
We've just arrived, and
That doesn't really answer her question. I'm Ionis. It's nice to meet you.
But you've arrived. How have you arrived?
The big ship behind us.
And she looks at it almost as though for the first time, and this is most unusual. We would have seen you coming. Who? Ionis, do you speak for this group, or?
certainly not.
Yes, I definitely do. This is Sorelia, this is Ajar, this is Marilyn, and this is Aeryn.
It is of course a pleasure to see you, but why are you here?
We were hoping you could answer that. The boat kind of steered itself a little bit there.
This is most unusual. This has never happened before. How? You are not here intentionally.
No.
Depends on whose intentions you mean. Our own, no.
And as she stands there, sort of unsure as how to proceed, there is another voice from the building above. And as she looks, you can see stood between the pillars another figure, sort of blinded a little bit by the sun, but this silhouette looks down. Cleo, bring them. And this individual in front of you, Cleo, turns to you and, come with me. If you are wearing sandals, please might you remove them. Barefoot on this island only, or of course hoofs. But I will take you to meet with the oracles of the island. This way, please. And she
Just shoot a meaningful look at Marilyn.
Meaningful in what way?
in the sense of, oh, there's oracles. Good.
Yes. Okay.
So, are you following?
I kick my shoes off.
Just before I start following Cleo, I just sort of aim a comment towards Ayo and say, "Yes, loud," and I start walking.
I've never been so complimented in my life.
So, you follow Cleo, and you're led off the beach, and as you leave behind the sandy shores and you entering this sort of very shimmering green undergrowth, eventually you are met with a set of patterned stone stairs, each step a mosaic of colour, and walking up these you eventually find yourself at the top of the rock that juts above the beach and the trees. It is a fairly spacious white building. It is open, like I say, it's surrounded by columns with a roof at its top. And the fire burns in the center of it, and you can see lining the outside of this building, there are wine-colored pillows that line the floor. And sat and stood all around, you see a group of near to 20 women, all of whom are talking amongst one another, and much as with Cleo, they all wear white robes with a golden buckle in the shape of an eye. And you can see that all of them, and there is a mixture of humans, and you can see at least one Leonin and a Minotaur. You can see some other centaurs and one satyr, but looking around, you can see that all of them have either tattooed or painted onto the backs of their hands the same eyes, all of which match the colours of their own. And not only this, as they sit and stand around, you can see that some of them are bandaging the others. Some of them have cuts, some of them have bruises, some of them lie unconscious on the floor while their heads are being propped up by pillows. But they're all tending to one another. And stood off to one side, sort of wrapping a bandage around a sort of fairly sleek Leonin, large lion-like individual. Her fur is light brown and she has grey eyes and a long tail, and she has a nose piercing with a chain that comes up to one of her ears. You can see bandaging this Leonin, a tall woman, dark skin, brown eyes, no hair, and around her head there is a golden circlet. And as she ties off the bandage, the Leonin just and the woman just, there you go, Thalia. There you go. And she turns to Cleo and the five of you. Welcome, unexpected strangers. Can I get you anything to drink, anything to eat? You have sailed from the looks of it.
No, thank you, but what happened here?
How have you found our island? Before I tell you of us, I would know more of you. No one has walked our shores in all of this time without us first knowing about it. Your coming here without our knowledge is unusual.
Perhaps it's more accurate to say that your island found us.
Is that right?
Well, we were on a boat, you see, and don't really remember why or how. And then the boat just steered us here, and here we are.
Most unusual. Please, take a seat. And she sits down and lounges on one of the wine-coloured pillows and gestures to you all to do the same. If you will.
I do so.
Yep.
Same. Uncomfortably.
None have ever found our isle unassisted. That you have done so, and seemingly not of your own accord. I would see that as higher powers at play. And that you come here in light of recent incidents, I would say is probably not coincidence. She looks towards you, Cerelia, and just nods, and you asked what it is that has happened. And I believe that, though we are strangers, I believe I can trust you all. Like I say, I do not believe it is coincidence that you are here now at our hour of need. You are on the Isle of Pytho, and we are its oracles. Do you know what an oracle is?
Do I know?
Familiar?
Cerelia, I'd say make a history check. Actually, no, a religion check.
A little bit of math says we're on
Can I also
15.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
So, what's both of you rolled, sorry?
what was it? Religion.
Religion.
Well, it's a natural one, which is minus 2.
Oh, okay.
Well, no,
I-
one minus 1.
What did you roll, sorry, Billy?
I rolled a 15, which is okay, but I think Sorelia could possibly know because of her background,
Okay.
her history.
So, you are vaguely familiar with the term oracle. You know that they are also referred to as seers and those that touch the future. But more than this, details, even in a world such as this where wonders are found in every city, in every plane, oracles are something else. Oracles have the ability to commune with that beyond the mortal realms.
Has anyone actually said the word oracle or seer?
Other than the individual sat before you.
So they did actually use the word.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
We all heard this.
Yeah, you're all sat around and this individual is talking with you.
And I can make the assumption that I would know.
I'd say with your travels, I would say you have definitely heard of.
What about with my -1?
You're drawing a blank.
You've actually forgotten what the word was.
Yeah.
But she sits before you and says, well, these oracles who stand before you now, they come here at a young age. We seek them out if they have the gift, the sight, and we give them the tools to train and for their gifts to be properly nurtured. I am one of them. I am Artemisia, head oracle of this island. She looks at you, Marilena, and just...
Did you just say my name wrong?
Sorry, did I? Marillion, sorry. Marillion.
New player character, who dis?
Looks at you, Marillion, and goes, I feel that you are not unfamiliar with these gifts. Would I be correct?
What kind of gifts are you talking about?
You have, I believe, what we would call the sight. It is fine. I do not mean to startle you, but I know this feeling well by now. You see things, don't you?
Just a word to the wise, maybe not the best foot to start on.
My apologies. Like I say, it is not often we have strangers on the island, and I am perhaps not used to speaking with those who I do not live with.
Do I trust this person?
Make an insight check.
Ooh. 22.
She seems to be fairly front-facing. She appears to be as she presents. She looks at you all and... How long have you been traveling, out of interest? Do you know, or...?
On the ship, or just in general?
On the ship, before you came here.
I
Not a
tried to
clue.
recall.
Sorry, what was that, Billy?
I said I tried to recall because
Okay.
at this rate, because my rolling has not been great.
I mean, with your earlier role of remembering standing on the ship, it's a fog. It's a blur.
Would I know?
Make a history check. You haven't yet, I don't think.
No. Oh, heck. That's a 9.
9? No. The individuals you now sit with, though you have a little bit more of an idea as to their personalities and their idiosyncrasies, you can't remember boarding with them. In fact, you can't remember boarding at all.
Is there no way that you could tell us? You're, you are oracles after all.
I am afraid, unfortunately, we did not foresee your coming.
And therefore we did not foresee your going either.
That's unusual, isn't it?
For us, most certainly. I will be plain with you, we are in a moment of crisis. Last night, we were attacked. Attacked by something that, in truth, we do not fully understand. Just as we do not fully understand you, it would be safe to say.
Just want to double check. You've definitely never heard of me, right? You don't know who I am? Arene? Savalath? The Tritons?
Afraid I do not. It is rare that we have Tritons on the island, I am afraid.
Blessed by Karanos? No?
We know Karanos, yes. He is a powerful god. We know him.
And you converse with him?
We have, on occasion, have had need to, yes, but...
And he's never mentioned Arene?
I am afraid not. I am sorry if you are perhaps expecting that he might, but...
I go off into a corner and just mutter to myself.
Have I ever heard of Arene?
I make a history check. I'm interested.
Yeah, me too.
So am I.
18.
The name rings a bell. The name is not uncommon, it has to be said, but you have heard of a Triton by the name of Arene who has frequented the shores of Theros, but you don't remember boarding with her, and you don't remember meeting with her, and she seems to make quite a striking first impression, and you think you probably remember her introducing herself to you, but...
Is her name just the Triton version of, like, John Smith?
Yes.
Can I please glance around all these people and see if I recognise any of them from the dream?
Yeah, make a perception check.
Natural 20!
Natural 20.
Oh.
You do not. However, you do recognise the white robes and the golden clasp as being the same as the girl from your vision.
Ah, okay.
And also, as you think on your vision more, and you remember her clasping her head and screaming, you vaguely remember seeing through the darkness the shape of eyes on her hands.
So what was it that attacked you? You said you were attacked?
So, I perhaps should give you the full story, seeing as we are being entirely open and honest with one another. Around a year ago, we took in another, one who had the sight, and she looks at you, Marillion, and gives a meaningful look, and then back at the rest of you. She was the daughter of farmers, and they came to us in our visions, and eventually we ventured out to them, and she was gifted to us to be looked after until she came of age to leave the island, go out into the world. We were to have her here, we were to train her, we were to look after her as though she were our own. Her name is Hiro. And she is one of the more powerful oracles that we have ever come into contact with. Her powers are beyond her age, beyond many of our capabilities. She can see things others cannot. Oracles can see visions of the future, and they can commune between the mortal and the divine realms, but she goes beyond that. And we had been training her for the better part of the year, but this last month she has become withdrawn. We do not know why, but she became more reticent and less willing. And we continued to train her. Nonetheless, she was still an excellent student, but last night we heard noises from her room. And we heard screaming. And when we went to go and check, she was enveloped by shadow a creature we had never seen before. And she cried out. She cried out for help, and despite our best efforts, her room came tumbling down around her. The creature took off with her, and elements of the temple crumbled around. We only made it out with our lives because we were quick, because we ran. And we were left with little choice but to escape to the outskirts of our island, tend to our wounded. But ever since, the clouds have been gathering, and she looks up towards the mountain top. They have been gathering, and we fear for her.
What does she look like?
Excuse me?
What does she look like?
Well, she is but 8 years of age. She's young, she is small, she is a child, she has long black hair, she's...
Green eyes?
Yes. Yes, green eyes.
I would like to see her room.
The entrance to our temple, where we stay, is situated towards the center of the island, at the base of the mountain. The temple itself stands at its top. You will find the rooms there. Unfortunately, I feel I must stay. There are many of our sisters who are still wounded, but we can provide with a guide, if you would want.
No need to put more lives at risk.
And a large figure comes from behind you, and you see a large, shaggy, white-haired minotaur with dark brown eyes and tattoos of eyes on the back of her hand. And as she steps forward, she goes, "There would be no lives risked. We can give you a hero's companion, a most trusted friend to guide you."
I have a companion.
This one might be of more assistance. I mean no disrespect, but the entrance to the temple is guarded. You will need someone to assist you for safe passage.
Who guards it?
Artemisia looks up, and the one that was on this island before us, her name is Iris the All-Seeing. She does not allow just anyone entry. You will require a token from us, and our token can be a companion.
What if they die before we get there?
I doubt that will happen. Odigos! And from behind the large minotaur, you hear the clinking of metal on stone. And from behind, you see, coming up to around waist height, a rather large bronze sable, a ferret-like looking creature. And every time they move, their joints seem to creak like metal bending, and looks slightly nervous at each of you, and its ears just creak back, and it bends down to the floor and just is just taking you each in. Like I say, Odigos was Hiro's friend. If anyone can help you, and if anyone can allow you passage, it will be Odigos.
This is ridiculous. I'm envious of a mechanical ferret.
And sort of comes up closer, and as it does so, it sort of gravitates a little towards you, Ajar, and taking you in, just tentatively walks forward a bit, creaking with each movement, and just...
Hello, little one. Does it eat at all?
I assume so. It chases after the many birds and other creatures that exist within this forest.
Well, I offer out some dried mushrooms.
Sort of sniffs, and as it does so, it's kind of like a flute being played. There is a distinct note as the sound whistles through this creature, and it just looks down
and this strange sensation of this dry tongue just laps against your hand, and the mushrooms disappear into its mouth, and it just... and comes up to you and sort of like just looks up at you, sort of twisting its head, and sort of looks at you in adoration. It seems to be quite fond of you already, and it looks around at each of you and starts to walk up to each of you and sniff in your various satchels as it just... this strange note passing through it. So, like I say, I do not take your arrival as coincidence. While we did not foresee it, it would be foolish not to take it as a sign. I believe, with your consent, that you have been sent here to help us. If you are willing, I can assure you that we would be in your debt.
Well, we've come this far.
I don't really see another way of us getting off this island.
No, neither do I.
Should we head to this entrance then?
Sounds like a plan.
And the large Minotaur kneels down at Odigosh and just sort of strokes this weird, still metal fur and goes, "You take good care of them and bring our girl back to us alive." And it looks around at each of you and just sort of starts to waddle over towards the stairs and turns around to look at each of you and just wags its tail a little bit.
Are we heading off?
Before we leave, is there any of the oraclers that are particularly hurt or injured? I have been blessed with some small healing ability. We may be able to help stabilize them.
There are a few who are worse than others and were caught in the debris. The two over there probably require the most assistance, but please do not feel that you have to.
It's no problem. I'll just go over and do a quick healing word spell to heal them up.
As she does so, you all watch as sort of particles float up from Agar's form, and sort of slightly more prominent, you see what look to be small spores, and they slowly spread out, and as they do so, and she just raises her hand and brings it down, the spores all descend, and you see them just disappear up the noses of various individuals, and there's a little bit of a sneezing fit amongst many of the oracles who are currently sat around, but as they do so, you can see that various wounds and various bruises start to lessen and start to close up. And while the blood is still there for many, you can see them moving limbs around a little more freely, and you can see them nursing broken bones as they just sort of try putting their weight upon them a bit. And you receive much thanks, Agar, as everyone turns towards you and just nods their heads.
Work, my children. Now, should we be off?
So, assuming we're all walking away, as after, I'm going to let everyone go in front, and then I'm going to just go over to Artemisia and just gesture for her to lean down to me so that I can whisper in her ear.
She does so.
These shadowy things, what are we talking about here?
In truth, we do not know, but all we have managed to ascertain is simply a guess. We believe it might be mix-born in origin.
What does it look like?
It is shadow made manifest. It is movement in darkness. It is the shapes you see in the periphery of your mind. I cannot describe it and do it justice.
I do not know what could have willed such a creature into being, and I do not know why it would want Hiro. But if it is Nyxborn, if it has come into being through belief itself, that may be the only way to get rid of it, is to stop the belief in it.
Doesn't sound like my kind of a method.
Well, all we can ask for is help and hope. Safe travels. She stands and she returns to her compatriots and starts to bandage up their wounds.
Move her little legs.
So eventually, after a little bit of sort of light jogging to catch up with the others.
I can actually go a lot faster than a normal dwarf.
Oh, really?
So
Okay, then in no time.
35 feet.
Catch up with the others, and you're all walking through the undergrowth as sorry, I keep saying your name wrong. Marillion.
I think you were there.
As Marillion catches up with
bang.
you, and you are 5 all together with little Odigosh walking in front of you.
How do you spell that, by the way? Sorry.
So
Yeah.
Odigosh.
Ah, okay. I thought it was like Odie gosh.
Yeah.
Odie gosh.
What kind of terrain are we moving through?
It is fairly thick forest. The trees themselves are a mixture of fig and olive and cypress trees. And the ground beneath you is relatively sandy as well. The dust that comes off the road is very white, quite chalky. And the grass that is all around you is very, very green. It's verdant, in fact.
Okay.
So, is there anything you want to be doing as you walk through?
I just want to make a note of the fact that as we're walking along, I am absolutely entranced by everything that is around me. I am in much in the same way that a cat does things for the first, like, you know, when it first finds like high grass or snow and it kind of like leaps. Like I'm kind of doing like a little bit of that, but also watching what other people do and trying to walk normally. But I'm very overwhelmed.
Make a performance check to see how well you hide this.
Are you wearing shoes before she told us to take our shoes off?
I would not have thought that I would
Have
be
you got
wearing
webbed
shoes. It's a good question. Let's go for yes, mildly.
Mildly webbed feet.
Well, my swimming speed is the same as my walking speed, so one would assume that my
You'd have
feet
webbed
must be
Yeah.
like webbed to an extent in order for
Yeah.
me to be able to swim as fast as I can walk. So that was a performance check, did you say?
Yes.
That is a 14.
14. You hide it well enough. There are a number of members of the party. I'd say Io and Ajar in particular. You note that she seems to be utterly entranced. Sasa and Marillion, you are both sort of powering on and following this strange little metallic creature in front of you. But yeah, you two, you see your Triton companion taking in everything and sort of taking deep breaths, and you can see that the gills around her throat are just like expanding and coming in, and this sensation of oxygen is very strange to you. It's very new. All of this is very new. But
Okay.
you continue on through the forests, and eventually you come to an open clearing, and immediately in front of you, at the base of the mountain, which slowly slopes up to its flat peak ahead, you see freestanding white columns surrounding the entrance to a large building. Each of these pillars are topped with unlit fires, and next to the building you see a small lake. Windows surround the buildings, all of them open, white cloth curtains drifting in the breeze, and at its front you see a large trellised metal gate standing ajar, and one of them is off its hinges.
And as for the state of the building itself, you can see that it is broken and crumbling in certain places. And off to one side, you can see the body of water next to it seems to be trickling into the side of the building. And on the other side of it, looming above the trees, you see the mountain. And built into it, becoming more and more distant as your eyes go up the mountain, you see white steps slowly ascending until they become almost imperceptible. And at the mountain's top, the clouds continue to swirl.
I just say to Io, got a bad feeling about this.
You don't say.
And then step forward.
As you do so, Odigosh just cowers a little bit, and you just hear and there is a voice from above you.
Well, what have we here?
Down from one of the columns, you see a large, cat-like figure. At first glance, it looks almost like a lion, taut muscles rippling underneath short fur, which look brown at first glance, but as you look, you can see like water mixed with oil. It is shimmering in a vast spectrum of colors. Giant wings stretch out from this creature's back, a cornucopia of different colors, and at the end of each feather, much like a peacock, the pattern of an eye. And as for the creature's head, dark braided hair hangs down from a striking female face, her dark skin tattooed with bright blue lines, and gleaming white eyes that seem to smoke as she moves and blinks, are looking at each of you with intense curiosity. And Odie is backing away and seems to be whimpering a little bit, but nevertheless stands his ground. And the creature is crawling down the pillar towards you.
Strangers on the island. We have not had strangers in such a long time.
We mean you no
Why?
harm. We mean you no harm. We only seek safe passage through.
I see that. Strangers accompanied by little Odigosh. The oracles have sent you.
Yes.
She now climbs down onto the floor and starts to pace around you all, just circling you.
So, what have you come for?
I take it you are Iris?
I am Iris, and I see all.
We would like safe passage. We are looking for a little girl.
You look for Hiro.
Yes.
Yes. I can smell it on you. You taste like the stars themselves.
Will you let us through?
If you believe you are worthy.
Worthy of what?
You must prove your mettle and your character before you pass. Friend or foe, you cannot simply be allowed in.
How do we prove our intentions are true?
And she smiles, and as the breath comes out, you can see that it, like her eyes, smokes. And she settles down in front of you and lies in front of the entrance and looks at each of you.
First, I would know more of you. It has been so long since I have been visited by those from outside the island. And you five are not what you see. So, let us talk. Tell me who you each are. Let us start with the Triton.
Well, I suppose I will entertain the fact that you clearly have no idea who I am. I am Arene Savalath of the Tritons, blessed by Karanos, god of storms, daughter of Meles and Ronlos Savalath. I am of the Triton race. I have come very far to as an ambassador of my people to introduce myself and the rest of the Triton race to the Dry Folk.
It is a name I am unfamiliar with. I see all, and yet I know nothing of you.
Well, you don't see all then, do you?
Apparently not. What of the centaurs?
I am Ajar of Ensis of the Centaurs. If you see all, my dear, can you see my children in the air?
You are surrounded by mushrooms and stars.
Yes, these are my children. This is Diantha. This is Erato. This is Hecuba. Cadmos is slightly over there. Matthias is currently looking at the floor. Nephele seems interesting as you. And then there's Zebedee, but we don't talk much about him.
You seem as one with nature. But the ground on which you step appears unnatural to you. It is strange. All of you are strange. You three, two of you are connected, I see. How is this?
I'm Ionis. It's nice to meet you. We're connected because we're friends.
Friends.
All right, Marilyn, you don't need to be so outright with the contempt right now.
You have history together.
Yeah, about a year's worth, give or take.
And you, Centaur, who is it that comes to me with the symbol of Nylea around her neck?
I am Cerelia, and I am on life's journey to find my place in the world.
You have found your path has come here.
Yes, for now.
For now. Well, in that case, you are all still very much mysterious to me. I see all, yet I see nothing of what lays behind you or what lies in front of you. But you seek the girl, and that is good enough for now.
So, and she stands and seems to perk up a little bit.
A riddle for some riddles. Are you game?
Absolutely. Riddle away.
Very good. I am behind you, yet I stand before you. I bear no present, for I could not see what lay ahead. What am I?
Could you say it again for me, please?
Yes. I am behind you,
Yeah.
yet I stand before you.
Yeah.
I bear no present, for I could not see what lay ahead. What am I?
Time.
I will allow you to discuss amongst yourselves if everyone wants to discuss it.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty obvious. I agree with you.
Time was my first choice.
This is disconcerting, though. We're all so sure, and
Time bears a present, though. Does it not?
But the present doesn't exist.
Only the...
It's here, then it's on.
Yeah.
Because the present is now, except it's now, except it's now.
Yeah.
So it still exists. Oh no.
I think time is the answer.
Just a quick question, Iris. If we get the riddle wrong, what happens?
We shall see.
Oh, I don't like that.
She just scrapes the floor a little bit and brings her claws up and just starts to bite at one of them.
Aurelian, maybe just get your hammer ready just in case.
Thinking of that already.
I am behind you and before you.
I think we were correct in thinking.
Or past. Past.
But how is it before us?
Because if you go past something, you're before it.
Yeah, but it is before you, not the other way around.
Well, but I suppose actually the past is before us, in the sense that it's before us now.
Yes, but it is. But the past has to come through the present in order for it to be behind you, but it can't be there if it is in the future. The only thing that fits is time, and the past is part of time as it passes. Time as a whole is always in front of you. It will always be behind you. You exist in that moment, but that moment is fleeting and will always become the past. Yet time still remains in front of you.
I'm staring at the floor.
I feel that time is also present.
Yes.
So do we think it's the past or do we think it's time?
We can go with time, but if it is past, I will not be pleased.
Sasa, I think it's your call.
Well, whatever happens, I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later.
So, what is your answer?
Time.
Interesting. You may pass.
Thank you. What lays in front of us?
If you seek the girl's room,
And she puts a single claw forward and hooks it around the symbol of the two arrows crossed.
you need only take a look at the symbol around your neck. Beyond that, you will find the temple, but I warn you, the girl is not alone.
I start to move forward.
I just whispered to Marillion, do you think the gods ever just get tired of being all mysterious and weird all the time?
No, I think that's what they enjoy the most.
Sounds about right. Are we going in?
Seems so.
So, you all headed into the temple?
Yep.
So, as you make your way in, the looming gates passing, that's where we'll take our break. So we'll be back in a little bit. We're going to get some water because it's very warm. Yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. In the meantime, stay safe and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, bye.
See you in a minute.
Ahoy! I'm Gianni and I play Oriana.
Ahoy, I'm Jessica, and apparently we are pirates now.
You should give us a like and subscribe. Arr!
And if you've got plenty of plunder, please subscribe to our Patreon, where you can give us that fine, fine booty.
Welcome back, everyone. Another reminder that our campaign is available not just on YouTube, but on iTunes, Spotify, and on Podbean as well. We'd love to have you on board. And please like, subscribe, click the bell icon, all that lovely stuff. Because otherwise no one gets notified about anything on YouTube, which is really frustrating. And obviously we'd love to share everything with you. So without further ado, let's jump back in. So as you step through the threshold of this somewhat broken temple entrance before you, darkness greets you. Shadows surround the place, and you can see little pinpricks of light coming through the gaps in the roof and the walls. The building itself is built of white brick, and before you lies an open, if somewhat dilapidated, hall. A rectangular pool of water runs down the middle, and an olive tree twists up from its centre, dominating the space. And beyond this, just off in one corner, you can see a break in the wall through which water is streaming in, creating a sort of shallow, maybe foot-deep pool across the entire floor. And on the other side of this, at the other end of the hall, you can see stairs leading off into the open daylight. As for the hallway itself, you can see that archways line the room symmetrically, each of them leading off to different rooms, and all of them have numerals above their arches. You can see there are around 12 of these arches in total, and therefore 12 rooms, and you can see unlit torches hanging from the walls. Ashen embers on the floor beneath them, many of them floating in the water. And long strips of white cloth hang down from the ceiling, swaying ever so gently in the breeze. And you can see furniture around the space, simple tables, simple chairs, shattered and lying around in splinters, some of them floating as you walk down into this water and bumping against your shins. And you can see black and red terracotta vases smashed underneath the water. It is very quiet, and as you turn around, you see that the Sphinx outside is no longer there.
I would
What
like
about
to...
the little ferret thing?
Odigosh is still with you, and seems to tentatively make his way into the water. What were you saying, sorry, Jess?
I would like to approach the olive tree,
Okay.
and I would like to cast Speak with Plants.
Okay. So you all watch as Ajar steps forward and places her very pale hand on the twisting trunk of this olive tree. And considering how well Speak with Animals has gone in the past, let's see how this goes.
yeah, what does an olive tree sound like? Do you want me to start the conversation, Edward?
Set the tone. Yeah, if you can set the tone.
Greetings, friend of the earth. Could you tell me what happened here?
And a voice greets you that seems to creak, like vines being twisted. Greetings, daughter of the earth. This place was attacked last night, a place of pleasure and of laughter, corrupted and sullen.
How atrocious, my friend. Tell me, who attacked this place?
It was a creature of shadow. It had stars within it. Stars that seemed to twinkle out of existence. And it took the girl.
Did anyone here manage to cause this creature harm?
The temple was collapsing long before, but I
I feel through my roots. And as your hand lays upon the tree, the rest of you watch as the tree itself seems to twist higher, and you can see the branches stretch out a little bit. I can feel them at the top of the mountain. You five, I have seen you somewhere before, haven't I?
I have known many olive trees, and we are all friends. Do you? I'm trying to think of a good name for an olive tree now. Hold on. Let me just do a quick.
Do you know Gareth?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
Oliver.
Do you know,
Oliver.
do you know Gareth and his young son Oliver?
I am afraid I do not. But you, I have seen you. What are you five?
Well, I am a centaur. My friend is also a centaur. We have a satyr, a triton, and a dwarf.
Strange. Most strange. Do you seek this girl? This hero?
Yes, we seem to be on the path to saving the poor thing.
I see you now. You shimmer with starlight. Interesting. Most interesting.
I will take the compliment. Tell me, friend, where would you advise we go next? Is there anything in this building that could be of worth or of use to us?
If you wish to know more of the girl, her room, while in ruins, stands just over there. And as the tree twists ever so slightly, while it doesn't gesture with its branches, you feel it gesture with its mind. And as you follow where it points, you see an arch above which there is the numeral for the number 10. There is an X above the door.
Thank you, friend of the earth. We may speak again, but if not, may Farika's blessings be upon you.
And also with you, sister.
I remove my hand.
I turn to Cerelia, and say, do you speak that language too?
Oddly enough, no.
What did it sound like when she was talking? Was it all in her head, or was it actually verbal?
So I'm happy to leave that up to you for flavour, Jess. Do you speak out loud, or?
I mean, so for speak with plants, on the spell description, it basically only says communication with you, so I'm going to guess that they didn't.
They didn't hear the other end of the conversation, but do they hear you speaking in common to this tree? Or
I speak whale.
Just making loads of like branch sounds. Yeah. I have just spoken to our olive tree friend. He says the girl's room was number 10. and that she was taken by the creature, and that at the moment they are all, or both rather, at the top of the mountain. Interestingly, they seem to recognize us, although they do not seem to know Gareth or Oliver or any of my other olive tree friends, so it is difficult to tell how truthful he was being.
I suppose we go to where X marks the spot then.
Sasa just shakes her head and starts walking ahead.
Shoulder my warhammer and waddle away towards the bedroom.
So you make your way through the floating debris and you sort of feel the water sloshing around you. And Odigosh is walking next to you all. He is rather more sort of enveloped by the water, and his head is above, just sort of walking. He doesn't appear to require air of any kind, but nevertheless, this affectation continues as you make your way through the temple. And eventually you come to this very small room. A part of the wall is crumbled and much of the roof is now missing, and a beam of sunlight illuminates the space. You see a simple bed off to one side that is shattered into hundreds of pieces, and off to one side you see a stone desk against the wall. And floating in the water there are numerous pieces of papyrus paper that are just floating all around. And you can see that on the wall above the stone desk there is a large mosaic.
Can I use stone cunning to look at it?
You may, absolutely.
It's gonna go well.
12.
12. So in terms of the mural itself, it is hard to ascertain kind of what it's made of. It appears to be much the same sort of red, possibly terracotta that you saw in your vision. But the image is quite clear. It is a giant circle around which you see a figure, the same figure 6 times. At its top, the figure walks, a bag in hand. Next, you see a figure talking with a robed individual. Then, you see the figure beset on all sides by darkness, sword in hand. At the bottom of the circle, you see the figure laid low by the darkness around them. Next, the figure stands tall, bright light and stars exploding forth from them and the darkness finally scattering. And finally, on their way back up to the top of the circle, you see a figure walking, starlight drifting off their form.
Does it look like a similar circle to the mosaic that I saw?
It does, yes. And Ionis, as you're watching Marillion, as you're watching Marillion take in this mural, you look down at a number of the pieces of paper that are floating around you, and you can see drawings, many of them sodden, but they seem to be child's drawings.
Can I grab some of the pages and dry them with prestidigitation, please?
Absolutely, you can. So you pick up a few, and as you do so, the moisture lifts off and sort of soaks up into the air before just dissipating into steam, and you have a number of dry pages in your hand.
Can I just look through them for anything that catches my attention, anything that seems odd or fits with the creatures that we've been told about, anything like that?
Yeah, let's make an investigation check for me.
I would also like to look around if there are any marks of any kind, claw marks, hoof marks, beast marks, anything like that.
I'll say make a survival check for that. Okay. What did you roll, Michael?
12.
12. So there doesn't appear to be much deeper meaning to a lot of these. They seem to be a child's drawings, and they're simple as they are sort of evocative of emotion. You see the main figure in many of these is the crude drawing of what looks to be a small girl, and sort of playing in fields and running up mountains. And you can see other figures which seem to have
eyes drawn on the back of their hands, sort of talking with her, and they seem to be figures that many of whom you recognise from earlier on. As you come to the last page, something catches your eye. And as you look around at a number of the other pages that are floating in the water, you see that this is not the only one. You see the young girl running through a field, and she is accompanied by 5 individuals. 2 centaurs, a satyr, a dwarf, and what looks to be a triton. And she is running through the fields with them, and they are running next to her. One of the centaurs leaping out of the long grass, bow attached to their back, satyr performing on a lyre. You can see the dwarf rather more curmudgeonly, sort of walking and bringing up the rear behind. But as you look around, you can see that a number of the paper pieces that are floating on the surface contain similar figures, some on their own, some with the girl, but the same. Billy, what did you roll?
14 for survival.
So you look around at the masonry that still stands, and as you do so, sort of wading through some of the water, you can see that whatever broke the temple seemed to do so from the inside. Sorry, was there something else that...
Yeah, sorry, it's actually 17 with
17. In that case, yeah, you can see that you can see that a number of the elements of the room seem to have been blown outwards. Whatever attacked did so from within.
Thinking back on Iris's words, I look and touch the necklace around my neck.
You look at it, and as you do so, and you hold it, you think on the mark above the door, the X, and you look down at your symbol, and you see the 2 crossed arrows in front of your chest. Nothing seems to happen, but the connection, having been pointed out by an olive tree, seems fairly evident to you now.
Okay.
I'm standing in front of the mural with my arms crossed in the same way I did on the boat. And I'm just going to say, this looks like prophecy.
Sounds about right. It looks like she saw us coming too. And I wade over and put the pictures in front of Marillion.
Why do I look so grumpy?
I couldn't possibly comment.
If that's the case, maybe we should hurry and find the girl. Because from the looks of this room, it looks like whatever happened from the inside out.
I find it strange that there's no sign of the creature in the pictures. If she saw us coming, then why didn't she see it?
Maybe we'll find out.
Oh, that's reassuring. Right, are we climbing this mountain then?
Yeah, I think so.
As you stand around the room, Odigosh is looking around and gives a little whine at the remnants of this room. It's just... and waddles over to you, Irene, and just sort of looks up and...
I would like to pick Odigosh up.
Make a strength check!
Is he massive?
He's made of, like, metal.
He's made of metal.
It's
Okay.
a mechanical thing.
Oh,
He's like
dear.
this big, right?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that he was like relatively.
I mean,
No, he sort of comes up to just below the waist. So
Oh,
he's,
excellent!
Yeah.
I mean, there are things like if he's made out of things like lead or something similar, he's got to
I
be.
have
He's
made
a
a grave mistake.
He's the chunky boy. Welcome to Hernia.
He is the
You're in
donkeyest.
water. You figure you'll take your chances.
Okay. Oh my god, it's a natural Wednesday.
Looking down at this creature, you see or you perceive the idea of tears in this creature's eyes, and your heart is just taken over by sympathy, and with one swift movement you reach under and just and you all just look, and you in particular, Marillion, you
just look down at your page.
I spotted that too.
I've written down like how to pronounce it as well, and like I'm still not convinced in my own abilities, which are very limited. But Marillion, you look with a certain amount of jealousy as you just see this Triton before you just deadlift this metal giant ferret, and even Odigosh seems fairly surprised. He just and just scrapes up against you.
Really strong water people.
Oh, wow. I try not to look. See, this is why you should all know who I am. See my strength.
Shall we get a move on there?
Then.
Are you going to try and carry that thing all the way up the mountain? Because that would be more impressive.
I will save my strength, and I will give Odigosh a little bit of a snuggle, and then put him down.
There's not much give as you give him a snuggle, like you just kind of press yourself closer to this quite chilly metal, but he appreciates it, and as you place him down, you feel light as a feather as you seem to just lift off the ground a little bit, but he just looks up at you and just slowly starts to wade off through the water, following the rest of you as you make your way.
I would like to hand her some dried mushrooms and go, he seems to like these, and then float away.
I take them and tuck them away in a pouch somewhere.
Okay, so you're just making your way up the mountain? Lovely.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to do while you ascend this winding set of white stairs on your way up? The clouds above you looming.
I would like... Sorry.
You go ahead.
I was going to say, I look to see if I can spot any tracks.
Okay, make a survival check. And what do you want to do, Diani?
Just to be on the safe side, I would like to cast Mage Armor, please.
Okay.
Actually, first, can you tell me? I would like to look up and kind of like a guesstimate as to how long it might take us to ascend the mountain.
Make a nature check.
That is a 12.
12. With the stairs being as well constructed as they are and seemingly carved through the easier portions of the mountain, you estimate it'll probably be maybe half an hour tops. It's hard to tell, especially as the clouds loom above you, and you can sense, especially you, Marillion, that there is a taste of thunder and lightning in the clouds above you. And it's very odd. It is circled almost entirely around the center of the island and the mountain itself.
17.
17. There are no tracks. For as much as you walk, there are no tracks up.
And I would just like to confirm that I will cast Mage Armor, these things.
So you watch as Irene just places her hand over her chest, and you see what looks to be ripples of water cascade over her, creating a facsimile of armor over the top. And it seems to disappear, but as the light shines through from the daylight, you can see every so often just a small veneer just in front of her, all the way around her. And you feel much safer. So, you continue on?
Yeah, as we go, can I just catch Irene for a bit of a chat?
Mm-hmm.
So, Lady Irene, you wouldn't be the same Irene that I've heard stories about of going up and down the coast, would you?
Oh yes, it absolutely must be. If you've heard of a Triton and her name is Irene, then it'll be me.
Well, but Irene's quite a common name from what I understand, isn't it?
Well, I can't imagine that you would have heard of any other Tritons other than myself.
That seems fair. So, tell you what, we finish this and I'll write a song about you and then everybody will have heard about you.
That would be most wonderful.
All right, I'm working on it. Give me some time.
Make sure that you include some kind of, stormy magic in there.
I'm sure I can. I do love shouting at a storm myself, so we can work that in.
Wonderful.
As he returns, I just go, have you found someone better to follow around?
Well, she seems to be stronger than you, so we'll see. and then I just pat Marillion on the shoulder and said, I'm joking.
I know.
Do I believe that she knows?
Make an insight check.
Oh, now I have to decide.
Wait for the roll.
I mean, do you though? Because I rolled an 8.
Who knows?
She is implacable, as ever. It is very hard to gauge her emotions at the best of times. This is not the best of times.
I thought after a year I'd be used to this, but I just still can't get a hold on it.
So you continue climbing the steps. White stone beneath your feet. And as you ascend to the mountain's top, grey clouds swirling above you, you reach its summit. You are met by the Temple of Pytho, wide and circular with beautiful white stone columns lining its perimeter, each of which are entwined with beautiful green vines. The floor that opens up to you is a giant, sprawling, black and red terracotta mosaic depicting the same images you saw before. The circle in Hiro's room, the Oracle's journey in full. And the clouds continue to loom above you, uncovered as the temple is, spiraling into what looks to be an eye in the sky. And thunder and lightning ripple through the clouds. And at the temple's center, you see 2 figures. On the floor kneels a girl in a white dress, her hands clasped over her head and her green eyes wide open as she rocks back and forth. She is silently screaming. You recognize her. It is the girl from your vision. And standing above her, circling her, there is another figure, shadowy, seemingly both young and old at the same time, cloaked in darkness. Smoke trails off her garb as she circles around the prone child, and her pitch-black hair and features shift like mist in the breeze. And as she walks around, you can hear her talking to this child. You have been told all your life that you are special. What if that simply isn't true? You are worthless, child. Why else do you think your parents shipped you away to this island even they didn't want you? And now you can't even defend yourself. Who do you have? You are alone in this world, child. As we all are. You are alone. And she is just circling this child who, as you can see, as she kneels on the ground, rocking backwards and forwards, she is crying. And her tears fall onto the red and black terracotta mosaic floor as you all reach the top of the mountain.
Do I recognise the shadowy figure?
Make a religion check. And anyone else who wants to do so can
I would
also
like to do so.
Okay.
I won't because it's not in my character.
I rolled a 3, so that's a 1.
Unfortunately,
I rolled a
you
6.
neither of you are familiar with this. All you have to go on, both Ajar and God damn it, Marillion.
You can just say Merrill. I think that's fine.
Merrill.
I give you permission.
And Marillion. All you have to go on is the phrase Mixborn.
Can I discern whether this thing has a magical hold over her at all?
Make an Arcana check.
So I've got a +3 to Arcana, but because of Jack of all trades, I add half my proficiency bonus, so it's 1, so 21.
21. You can definitely sense a connection.
Okay.
And I would also say, as you look at the shadow that walks around the child, as the features seem to shift from young to old to young to old, you see a face in there, a face that looks remarkably similar to the child on the floor.
Okay.
So as you all stand there, watching this child and this creature around her, the creature just stops before looking at all of you, smoke cascading across the floor. How are you here? She steps forward and past Hiro and just looks at all of you. How?
I start to circle away and just address Hiro instead of the shadow. Hiro, is that you?
She won't hear you. She doesn't deserve to be heard. How did you find her?
Well, we ourselves do not know, but for all intents and purposes, from what we can see, it was by divine means.
She looks at Hiro, who is still silently sobbing on the floor, and just sneers. Do you really believe they can save you this time? She looks back at all of you. This is not your realm. You have no power here.
I'd like to give it a try, and then I hit him with my warhammer.
Okay, well, let's roll for initiative then.
Yay!
So let's get the battle cam up and see if this works.
Okay, rolling.
Oh, heck.
I mean, you're not going to believe the roll, but yes.
There we go. So, we currently have Hiro there, creature there, we have Marillion there, and I'd say if Billy, you were circling around, so
Yeah.
should we say there? Where
Yep.
does everyone else want to be in relation to all of this?
Am I currently running forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Dwarves.
I'd probably say that I would have been standing next to Marillion, but not followed her in the run.
Okay, so are you happy to stay there then?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. What about Irene? Where do you
Can I go forward and to the right a little bit?
There? Bit more?
Yeah, that's... And one, so up and then left. One square up and one square left. Yes.
Yep. How about yourself, Jess?
A little bit forward.
Is there?
Yeah, just stay there.
Okay. And Odigosh will probably stay there.
Can I be a bit more forward considering I ran out?
Yeah. I'll say we can place you.
Actually, how far am I away? Hold on. 5, 10, 15, 20. Am I 30 feet away at the moment?
Yes, you're within 30 feet.
Lovely, I would like to stay there.
Okay. Lovely. So, if we go through initiative one by one, so let me just bring up the relevant things. So, 25 to 20. Yes, what did you get?
21.
21, okay. And then 20 to 15?
Yeah, 18.
17.
Okay, so what's your dexterity modifier, Billy?
My dex modifier is +2.
Okay. Can I ask you to roll your dice again in that case?
Ooh. Snaps.
And just add your dex to it?
To what I've just rolled,
Yeah.
that's a 22.
Okay, cool.
Did you just roll a natural 20?
No, 19. Oh, sorry, 21.
So
Not
wait.
21.
Ah.
I did an extra one just for flavor.
Maths.
So then 15 to 10? Yes?
12.
12, lovely. So... And then 10 to 5.
For once, I am pleased.
What did you
I'm
get?
not- I got an 8.
8, lovely. Okay. So... Lovely. So, in order, in that case, so first up we have Ionis, then we have Marillion, then we have... who do we have? Sorry, can't read my writing. We have Cerelia, then we have the creature, then we have Ajar, and then we have Irene. So, as we start the round, thunder and lightning are brimming above, and as Marillion runs forward with her battle hammer, it seems to darken and get worse. So, Ionis, before everything kicks off, what are you doing?
Okay, can I use my bonus action to inspire Marillion, please?
Absolutely.
So, stop right now. Thank you very much. Need somebody with that dwarven touch. Hey, you, always on the run. Better slow it down, baby, because she's gonna fucking murder you. So you get a D8 to add to attack roll or saving throw. And because of my unfailing inspiration, if you fail with that, you get to keep the dice until it succeeds.
Wow.
Do I have to use it before I've rolled?
You have to use it. You can use it before or after, but you have to state whether you're using it before you
get the
know
result.
what the result is.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
I like the idea that maybe you sound that quite sped up because I'm like running.
Start slowly down.
It's as you're running. I think that took about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Then
Like a cassette tape being forwarded. By the way, where
Okay.
is the person in the middle? Where's the child? Is she on the
Oh,
map?
it's white, so it's not showing up at all.
Oh, yeah, cannot see that. I can see it in real life, but not. Okay.
Okay, and then can I ask you to make a charisma saving throw for the Nyxborn? Is that what it's called?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So that would be 21.
Damn, fails. I tried to cast Bane, but it didn't work.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, that's my action.
Okay,
So,
lovely. Are
yeah,
you
that's
staying
it.
where you are?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, so in that case, up next it is Marillion. I'm assuming you're charging forwards.
I'm gonna rage as I charge
Okay.
because now I'm inspired.
So, rush forward.
Right, so I can add it if I want. Okay, I'll roll first. It's a dirty 20. I think we'll keep it at, well, yeah. I don't need to
Okay,
use the
that succeeds. So roll for damage.
Okay. Oh, I rolled a 1 on the damage.
Oh,
I don't think I have anything that it's fighters that can like not do that, isn't it? Oh well, 5 damage,
Okay.
and then I get a second attack.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does that actually do damage?
It does, yes.
Because the last thing they said was like, "Rah rah, you can't hurt me." I think I'm gonna use my inspiration-y thing. Just that one. Okay. 19.
That just hits. So roll for
What
damage.
is that? That's going away because we've used that. Damage.
oh my god, that just hits. That's so much pressure.
19. You lifted Odigosh.
Oh wait, I get to add extra damage because I'm raging, so extra 2 to the previous one. And then 13 damage.
13 damage. Lovely. So.
Yeah.
So you all watch as Marillion rushes forward, as Ionis just off to one side just starts a song and then slowly speeds up as Marillion just runs forward and just with this almighty, you see her muscles just bulge from underneath her armor as she just brings her warhammer down. Once, twice, smashing out this golden blunt instrument just crashing into shadow.
Another thing that happens too.
Yep.
There's a stormy magical aura, and basically, sorry, trying to open all things. The target makes a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
DC though.
Ooh, probably not good. So that's 6.
I assume that's probably a failure.
I'd assume so too. What happens?
It takes 1d6 lightning damage.
1d6 lightning damage. Okay.
Do you want me to roll that?
Yep.
1.
1. Okay.
A damage. It takes a damage.
It takes
an
a
extra
single
damage.
damage. One of your damages. As Marillion runs forward and just 1, 2, crash, crash, you see that some of the lightning above is starting to just and rumble down, and you can see some of this, you swear, fly down into her hammer as it just like shatters out a little bit inside this shadowy creature. Hiro is on the ground and she is rocking backwards and forwards. As this is happening, Sasa, it's your go.
Okay, all of the things. Okay, let's see. Okay, for first bonus, I would like to use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
I wrote down the ways that I'm doing this, so I'm just trying to make sure that I do them correctly. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Hunter's Mark is 1 spell slot. Okay. I don't need to roll for that. I don't think, do I?
For Hunter's Mark?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is my attack, which is in phases. Okay, so I get to attack. So the first one, I would like to attack, but when I attack, where's my...
It's an extra 1d6 damage, I think.
It's an extra 1d8, I believe.
Ooh.
It's an extra 1d8 because I have the special ability of Colossus Slayer. When I attack with a weapon, the creature takes an extra 1d8 damage if it's below its HP maximum, which I believe you are because you have taken some damage.
I am, yes.
Okay, so I will attack, and one of the other special abilities I have is before making an attack with a ranged weapon, I can choose to have a -5 penalty to the attack roll. If the attack hits, I add +10 to the damage roll.
Okay, sure thing.
So I would like to take that penalty.
Okay.
-5, so it's attack. It's -5. That is nowhere near, I believe. So that's plus Dex for ranged weapons.
So it's Dex and your proficiency for
Dex.
attacks.
5 -5, 10.
10. It does not hit, unfortunately.
But I get advantage with Hunter's Mark, do I not?
No, it's just extra damage, I think.
Damn. Okay, second attack.
Okay.
That's not going to hit either. That's a complete miss. That's it. I rolled a 7, so that's going to be +5, 13 plus. Yeah, it's going to be less than 10 again. Okay.
Well, as you rush around, are you wanting to move at all?
Where am I? Okay, so I would like, because I have a movement speed of, where's it gone?
No, I'm 40, so you're probably the same.
Yeah, 40 feet.
Mm-hmm. So you can strafe around this very easily.
I was going to go around, yeah. So to the right, strafe around to the right, the maximum 40 feet, please. And
so there?
Is that a full 40?
Or would you like
and then
to
go back a bit? Yeah, that would be great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Lovely. So as you strafe around the outside of this circular mosaic, your hooves clopping against the stone, and this, You just bring out one arrow, slew, one arrow, and they both fly wide of the mark. But as you come round, you are behind the creature now, and you ready your quiver once more. It is now the creature's turn. And as you all watch on, you feel the ground start to shudder beneath you. Lightning cracks down into the ground below, and you can see the mosaic splintering, bits of red and black terracotta flying everywhere. The clouds are swirling, and the creature looks at you, Marillion. And as you are the one who has caused the most damage, she just gazes at you, and seemingly with black light, her eyes blaze. And all of you feel and watch in horror as the temple starts to break apart and rise. So,
What?
Billy,
Oh no.
as
I wondered why there were vases there.
so you each watch in horror as in various different portions.
Wow.
Oop, let me bring that up a bit.
Yay.
There we go. Okay. And finally, that one there.
Wow. Okay.
And Ionis, I'm going to have to ask you to make dexterity saving throw for me, please, as you are directly in between two joints.
Okay, I rolled a 9, but I have +7 for my dex, so it's a 16.
Okay, so which portion would you rather be on, the lower one or the higher one?
I think probably the lower one.
Okay, sure thing. Sorry, let me just raise this up a bit.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, so the lower one, did you say? Sorry?
Yeah, just because it's closer to people.
Okay, I'll pop you there then. Lovely. So, as this is happening and as it is rising about you, you also see that your shadows start to elongate in the sun. And as they elongate, they slowly begin to rise out of the ground. And you are met with
Oh, heck.
Uh-oh.
shadowy versions of yourselves all coming out of the ground. In
Oh, really
front
good.
of you, Billy, you see a mirror image of Soralia. And next to you, you see another.
Stop trying to avoid saying my name.
Oh, come on, Jose. I keep, like, you know when you are certain you've got it right, but you're also
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna say it wrong.
Say Meryl.
Right. So these other ones that you see on top are a little further away, but you each watch in horror as shadowy versions of yourselves just come out of the ground and look at each of you and just bare their dark teeth and grin. That's all the creature can do for now, so we are on to Ajar. What are you doing?
Sorry, one quick question. The level that I'm on and the level that Hiro is on and the creature and etc. Is that the same or am I slightly lower?
So you're slightly lower. You're there.
Okay, how much lower?
You're
Like,
around.
can I see Hiro?
Make a perception check for me real quick.
Oh heck! So I'm so sorry. I'm like,
No, that's fine.
And we'll come back to that when we get to your turn. So, Ajar, what are you doing?
Cool. So the very first thing I would like to do is I'm like, come on, children. And so I am a Circle of the Spores druid, which is a very good druid that is also mushrooms. Usually druids can turn into any animal they want, but using a thing called wild shape. But Circle of the Spores is very interesting, and that instead of becoming an animal, they can use a thing called symbiotic entity to basically awaken the spores that infuse them. It's pretty good. Gives me 24 temporary hit points.
Okay.
Double damage for my special Halo of Spores attack, and I deal an extra 1d6 additional poison damage if I hit with a melee weapon attack. So, pretty
Okay.
good. So I'm just going to give
I mean,
myself the
that's-
10 HP.
So you watch as springing from her shoulders and from around her ears and from her very arms themselves, you see fungi just start to grow and create this weird sort of fungal armor all around her, and this sort of
sphere of spores just floats around her, turning the air around Ajar a slightly off-white colour that seems to shimmer in front of her. Is there anything else you're doing on your go?
Yes, so as my bonus action, I would like to cast, and I can't pronounce this, it's like Shillelagh?
Shillelagh.
Shillelagh, is it Shillelagh?
Yeah,
Prefer
it is.
your version.
It's Shillelagh.
Thank you, Io. So I take a club from my bag. So basically, it's a handy thing druids have. It means that I can basically do a melee weapon damage but using my spellcasting modifiers.
Okay.
But I obviously can't attack, so I will use my action. But it's
Okay.
pretty nifty.
And it
You want to
also
move anywhere?
Can I move anywhere? I mean, how could I, if we're moving from one section to another section, how would we, is it jumpable? Or would it be like...
It's definitely jumpable. Each of the sections are sort of at varying heights, but you could definitely jump from here to there if you wanted to. It would be an athletics check, but...
I will stay still. Am I still within 30 feet of the main Nick spawn?
You are, yes.
I would like to stay there for the time being.
Okay, lovely. So, it is now Arene's turn. What do you do?
Okie dokie. Well, let's hope I do this right, because I've never done a spellcast before. Let's go for... I would like to cast Shatter.
Okay.
And I will do so...
Me and Michael just like, yeah.
Shatter is one of my favourite spells.
I know, it's so good. And I'll do that as a level 3 spell. And so that means that I can choose a point, and any creature in a 10-foot radius sphere standing on that point must make a Constitution saving throw. So I'll choose those 3 that are grouped together just in front of me.
If you popped it...
And if I pop it there, then I can also hit that one. Yeah, so I'll do all of those. So they all need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. So we've got 1 natural 20, 2 17s, and 1 10.
Oh my goodness! Okay, so only the one that got the 10 gets hit.
Okay.
Okay, so they will take 4d8 thunder damage. So that is 5, 8. Oh god, 8 plus what's 8 plus 8? 16. 16 plus 7 is
23.
23, and then also because of the gifts, because of the fact that I'm a storm sorcerer, they will also take an additional 3 points of damage.
Okay, and it's half damage for everyone who succeeded, right?
And it's half damage for everyone who succeeded. So do I need to roll separately for all of them, or is it just the same roll?
No, so I'll take the same one. So it's 23 halved then, was it?
Yeah, so 23 halved.
Okay, so...
and they will also, if they fails on the saving throw, they will... oh no, that's it. That's it!
Okay.
But also the three that succeeded on the saving throw will still also take 3 damage.
Okay.
As well as.
So you watch you watch as just reaching out, another sort of streak of lightning flies down from above, hitting the mosaic in the center of this temple, and bits of terracotta fly everywhere. You see all 4 of them just brace as they just sort of shudder a little bit, and the one that resembles you is looking at you and seems ready to cast, and she just dissipates out of existence, rippling through, and as she does so, you swear you hear her, "Don't you know who I am?" And she just flies out into the other 3, Ajar, Ionis, and who else is down there?
That name what you can't pronounce?
No, I don't. Hang on. So you defeated her. So actually, yeah, no, that would be Marillion. So one of them is gone, and
You killed me!
no, she killed herself.
Okay.
I killed myself.
Killed
It's okay.
yourself!
But yeah, so Marillion, Ionis, and Ajar are still up on the platform. So is that everything you want to do in your go?
Yeah, let's save the fun for my next go.
Okay, so top of the round, Ionis, it is your go.
Okay, I'm going to use a bonus action to inspire Arene. Bless my soul, Arene's on a roll. Triton of the week in every Thorosian bowl. That's it. That's all I've got. And then I'm gonna... Is the shadow of me within 60 feet of me?
It absolutely is, yes.
Can it make a wisdom saving throw, please?
It can. That is an 11.
It fails. My spell DC is 16.
Okay.
So I cast Dissonant Whispers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I whisper, and only it can hear me, but I whisper, "You're not as good looking as I am." And it takes 3d6 psychic damage.
Okay.
Where are you on
Okay.
the map? Which colour is...
I'm green.
Yeah.
So 6 plus 5, 11 points of psychic damage.
You watch as you sort of whisper this insult, and you hear Ionis just react and turn to you, and with a it just disappears and just dissipates into nothingness. Is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
No, that's it, thank you.
Lovely. Okay, so Marillion, it's your go. You are in front of the creature, and you can see that the other Marillion is stood right next to you, shadowy warhammer raised high.
Okay. So I'm just gonna like shake my head and then go to attack the main thing again.
Okay, sure thing. So roll to attack.
Okay. Sorry. 13.
13. That doesn't hit, I'm afraid.
And then I guess I'll just try again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's worse. I rolled a natural 3, so that's definitely not going to hit.
So rushing forward and sort of like taken aback by this other version of you that now stands, you just bring your hammer down once, twice. It shatters the floor, but as you're taking in the various bits of the temple that are rising around you, bits of root and vine hanging down and earth dropping down, you just miss, unfortunately, as the creature just moves from one side to the other.
I can still do the lightning damage thingy as a bonus action though.
Okay.
So I'll do that because it doesn't require a hit, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 6. 6 lightnings.
6 lightnings. Okay. So, Cerelia, it is now your turn. As you see a cloven-hoofed, not cloven-hoofed, that's the wrong thing. You see another centaur in front of you, herself, much like you, the necklace of Nylea around her and readying a bow in front of you, and she is sneering at you. What are you wanting to do?
Okay. My hooves for centaurs are natural melee weapons.
Okay.
So, I would like to attack myself? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
My mirror image.
Okay.
She said she kicks herself.
It's a 10. Do you get? I don't think I get proficiency with melee damage.
I mean, they're your hooves, so
Yeah, I
I'd
was
say
like,
you're probably
plus-
relatively proficient at them,
13.
I think. To hit,
Yes.
yes, that hits just.
Oh my god. It's 1d4, I believe. Yeah, 1d4 plus Jax. 1 second. Oh my god, that's a 4. Where's it gone? That's why I don't like having many pages of myself. Yes, it is 1d4 plus your strength modifier, and my strength is plus 1, so
Plus
it's
1.
5 damage.
Okay, so rearing up on your hind legs, you just bring your front two just down as the creature just like staggers back a little bit. Still standing, but looks a little the worse for wear. Your attacks, you note, don't seem to do as much damage as you otherwise might have hoped. But nevertheless, it is still hurt a little bit, bowed but unbroken. So,
It is
I get another attack.
Oh, okay.
Attacks.
In that case, go for it.
I attack again. Ooh. That is +3, 10.
10, that doesn't hit, I'm afraid, unfortunately. As you rear up again, the creature just clops to one side and brings up its arrow and looks directly at you. It is now...
Can I move to the other side of the pillar, please?
You'd be provoking an opportunity unless you move forward.
Unless I moved forward?
Like to there? Or are you trying to specifically get away from the creature?
Put the pillar between us. I'll stay where I am.
Okay.
Yep.
So it is now the creature's turn. So
you anymore?
So the one next to you, Marillion, is going to try and attack you. That will be a 15 to hit.
Alas, no.
Alas, no. Okay. So reaching out to you with its hammer, it just passes through you as you bring your arm up, and it seems to sort of dissipate around you. The one in front of you, Cerelia, is going to try and attack you. That's a natural 2, so I'm assuming that probably doesn't hit.
Doesn't hit.
And these two shadows up here are going to pass down, and they seem not to jump, but to float as they just come down in this very unnatural gravity-defying way as they move from piece to piece. One of them is going to try and attack you, Irene. That's another natural 2. I'm going to change my dice.
No. Keep those dice.
As the shadowy Ajar just reaches out to you and just once again moves through you, static still emanating off you. It sort of shimmers in the midair. Yes, so it's just attacked Irene, and at this stage, seeing the shadows around it being entirely ineffective against all of you, the main creature is going to look past you, Marillion, and towards Ionis. And Ionis, I need to ask you to make a charisma saving throw for me, please.
Oh, a charisma saving throw.
A charisma saving throw.
Good luck.
maybe hoisted by my own petard now. Okay. That is an 18.
Ooh.
You just succeed as you feel your mind just cloud a little bit, and you're once again returned to the fog that you felt earlier in your mind. You feel the fog from when you stepped onto the boat. You see Marillion. You remember the fog through which you came through on the boat, but you shake yourself and you can see your hand sort of very Back to the Future-esque just go from translucent to just coming back into the real world, and you just sort of look at it a little bit before shaking your head and looking up at the shadow that just seeing you just... so it is now...
Can I use a free action to just yell at it, going, "You'll have to try harder than that"?
It hears you and it makes a note of that. And it is Agar's turn.
Wonderful. Did I get attacked?
You didn't. No, you're safe behind Ionis.
No, it came for me with the charisma saving throw, which was a mistake.
Nice. Okie dokie. So now I am all fungused up and up, whatever that was. I am going to charge straight to the main Nick spawn.
Okay, so if you can make an athletics check as you leap from one to the other.
I certainly can. Let me check what my athletics is. Hopefully okay. I mean, it's fine.
Such confidence, Jess.
14.
14. You just make it. It takes your it takes one free hand to assist your hooves to climb up, but you leap from one platform to the other, and your path is blocked by the shadow. Damn it, Maril.
Just say Meryl.
Meryl. It's blocked by Meryl.
Say Meryl.
It's blocked by Oscar winner Meryl Streep.
Okay, so then I will charge against Meryl instead.
Okay.
So I'm going to attack with my... So I will roll for that now.
Your shudder hits.
Yes. Okie dokie. That's a 15.
15. That hits. Roll for damage.
Fantastic. So this is going to be. So initially that's just 5, but as I've got Circle of Symbiotic Entity, I get to do another 1d6 of poison damage.
Okay.
Which I will do now. That was a 6. So that's another 6 points of damage. And as I charged 30 feet, I can make a Hooves attack as a bonus action.
Okay.
So.
Centaurs, man.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I was thinking if I get around the pillar, I can charge down at the next spawn. But
that's a 13.
That just hits. Yes. Roll for damage.
Oh, lovely. That is 1d4 plus 2 bludgeoning damage. Gonna roll that d4. That's 4 damage.
Plus 2, or
no, just 4. 2 plus 2.
Right. Okay. So, as you bring your weapon down and the spores just cloud around this already very sort of strange-looking shadow, you see bits of mushroom just fly into it and come out, and little bits of shadow just fly out the other side as this creature just... Your actual blows don't do as much as you were perhaps expecting, nor do your hooves, but they still do some damage.
I mean, my shudder makes it a magical weapon, so the initial...
Even the hooves, or
no, my hooves will still be normal.
Okay.
And the poison will still be poison.
Okay. So
but it's like I can attack the magical weapon, so it counts as a magic, not a physical attack.
Okay. So either way, it's not looking great. However, the poison damage appears to do nothing. Their spores are flying through and coming round the other side, but your magical attacks are landing, but the additional poison damage appears to do nothing, unfortunately. But it's not looking great, regardless. So it's Irene now.
Okay. I would like to use... I don't trust my athleticism. So I would like to use Tempestuous Magic as a bonus action to fly across the gap.
Okay.
But it'll only take me 10 feet.
Okay. You will provoke an opportunity attack from the shadowy Ajar that stands next to you.
It allows me to do so without provoking an opportunity
In
attack.
that case, go for it.
Yeah, so I'll fly over the gap
Okay.
onto the platform with the Nyx spawn on it.
Okay.
To about there, and then I'll move. Can I move diagonally left and then forward 1 square?
Okay.
Which is not the wisest thing to do as a sorcerer, but who cares? And can I cast Thunder Wave? So each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from me must make a Constitution saving throw.
That will include Ajar and Marillion as well.
Oh, does it as well?
It does, yeah.
Everything.
Heck.
Do it anyway.
Oh man,
Take it.
that's mental.
Yeah,
My con is fantastic. You go crazy, mate.
Right, okay. Well,
Hey,
you know
hey, hey.
what? I feel like
Heroes in that square. Heroes in that square.
I like to think that Irene.
No, I do. It's a child.
I like to think that Irene is someone who does not know, does not quite understand her powers to an extent. So you know what? Heck it, let's go for it. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
No, it's
Bear in
fine.
mind, Hiro is also right next to you, as Billy said.
Oh,
The little girl.
Christ.
Hiro is there. She's white, so you can't really see where her marker is. But
Oh man, you make.
She's also 8 years old.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa!
Let's not run through
Whoa.
this again.
Okay. Wait. So how much movement did I use by getting there? I used what? 15 feet.
15 feet, yeah.
Okay. Can I move to the... Instead of going there, can I move to the left of... who's the purple marker?
Ajar.
Yeah, can I move to the left of Ajar? So would that still... No, that's still kind of... Does that keep me... Does 15 feet count diagonally? Would that keep me within... Would that be within range of the next ball?
Yeah, so... Yeah, originating from you. Is it just a 15 foot?
It's 15 foot.
Yeah, so it would still catch Hiro. It's quite a squished
that's
space.
That's like a brutal spell, isn't it? Okay. Forget that. Instead, I will cast, aiming towards the Nyxborn, I will cast Lightning Bolt, which should pass through the Shadow and the Nyxborn without hitting Hiro.
Yeah.
And that is a stroke of lightning that forms a line of 100 feet long. And in a direction that I choose, any creature, so they must make a dex saving throw.
Dex saving throw, okay. So that's an 8 and a 20 not natural.
Okay, I'm going, oh wait, so if mine matches, that won't, Who got the 20?
So it was the main one, the Nyxborn.
Okay. I'm going to save my inspiration die for now.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll just use it on the little creature.
Okay. So roll for damage.
Okay. So this is so OP. Okay.
It's a one shot. Go big or go home.
Okie dokie. So that's 2 plus 7, which is 9 plus 8. So 9 plus 8.
17.
Plus 6.
23.
23.
Plus 5.
28.
Plus 7.
35.
35, yeah.
Plus 2.
37.
37.
Plus... Oh, wait a minute. No, wait. I was using the wrong dice. Let's start again. Sorry, guys.
I'm not doing your maths for you now.
I love that game.
So that's 2 plus 5, 7, plus 1, 8, plus 6 is 14, plus 4 is 18, plus 1, 19, 24, 25, and an additional 3, so that's 27.
28.
Okay, well...
28.
I can maths.
The Marillion shadow just dissipates. It is gone. How much damage was it in total, sorry?
28.
28, so it's still half if you succeed, right?
Yeah, so it will be half of 25 plus 3.
Okay, lovely. So... so I'm just doing maths of my own. Okay, so you all watch as in amongst the darkness of the clouds swirling around and the looming pillars that are coming all around you and the platforms that are moving around in the very air itself, creating shadow, there is suddenly a blinding light that comes from Irene as she just brings her hands around and just shoots lightning in a one long bolt that fires off into the distance, flying almost as far as you can see. Even in the daytime sky that surrounds these dark clouds, it can be seen. It is blinding white, and you can see that it doesn't quite hit the creature, but it flies through some of the shadow as it just and looks at you. It's looking very angry and more than a little worried. So, top of the round, it is Ionis.
Okay, so there's the shadow of Ajar still.
Yeah, on the same platform as yourself.
And the shadow of Sasa, and then the Nyxborn.
Yes.
Okay. So if I could position a 10... Hang on, sorry. Yeah, so if I could position a 10-foot radius sphere behind the Nyxborn.
Okay.
So it doesn't hit Hiro and Marillion.
Sure thing.
And I'm gonna. It's shatter because I'm taking the inspiration from Arene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna cast it at 3rd level.
Okay.
And they need to make a con save.
Con save. Okay.
He gives inspiration. He takes it away.
26, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, this still takes half damage.
Still half.
So does that mean my inspiration is gone now?
No. It was, sorry.
For a second, I was like, "You what?"
I was inspired by your actions, but not in a bardic inspiration sort of way. I should have been clearer. I apologise. So 3d8.
That would be so mean.
It would, wouldn't it? 3rd level higher attack. So
Very bardic.
4d8. Ooh. 15. That was a 5. 20. 23. So that's 23 points of thunder damage halved, so 11.
Okay.
And then as my bonus action, can I use one of my bardic inspiration dice to do unsettling words on the Nyxborn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unsettling what, sorry?
Unsettling words. It's a
Okay.
College of Eloquence ability.
Okay.
So I basically just say, this isn't going well for you. I think we're probably going to beat you. And so that means that the next saving throw it makes is decreased by a d8 that you roll.
Okay, sure thing.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Okay, lovely. So, Marillion, your go. Now that the shadowy version of yourself has gone.
Can I see if Hiro is being affected by this?
Make a perception check.
Dun, dun,
8.
As far as you can tell, her hair hangs around her head and she's looking down at the ground. From where you are, all you see is a scared little girl.
Does she look injured?
She doesn't look injured, no.
Right. Just gonna hit it again.
Okay. Roll to attack.
I might hit it. No, I'm just gonna hit it again. Wait, hang on. I could do reckless as many times as I want, right?
Yes, you can.
No, I'll just do that then.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gives them advantage on their attacks against you, should they choose to.
Okay, yeah, so I'll go reckless. I might shout over to Ionis, and then just kind of like gesture towards Hiro, and do a little thing.
Do I know what that means?
I'd say you have a shorthand between you, and shorthand is something you've definitely had to get used to with Marillion. It's, you know... So,
It means try to get her away.
Okay.
Okay, so I will attack. So it gives me advantage, doesn't it? Reckless. Good.
Oh no.
14.
14 does not hit, I'm afraid.
Try again. Oh, natural 20. Okay. So the second one's a natural 20.
No.
Okay.
Also, I forgot that when I do the extra d6 lightning, it still needs to do the dex save each time.
Okay.
So, yeah, dex save for that one.
Okay.
And I'll be rolling damage.
Would that count as a magical effect? Just realised.
I don't know. It's lightning damage.
Okay. So yeah, if you roll for damage.
It's a magical aura that creates it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
12 points of damage?
12 normal.
12 normal damage, and how much lightning?
Well, did it fail the dex?
It got a natural 20, I'm afraid.
Oh, so then none.
Okay, right. So
unless it's
12,
half, I don't think
so-
so. Oh yeah, half as much unless that's 1. Okay.
Okay.
So 1.
Okay, so let me just figure this out. So that's lovely. Okay. So you bring your warhammer down. Once it misses, the second time it hits again, doesn't do quite as much damage as you perhaps expect it to, but nevertheless, lightning shudders down from above and crashes into the creature's sternum, and it just, it is looking the worse for wear, as much as a shadowy being can do. So it is your go, Billy.
I will attack with my hooves again with my mirror image.
Okay.
That's a nat 20.
Okay, roll for
I rolled a
damage.
natural 20, didn't I? So we have to double the damage of the dice.
Did, yes.
Sorry, Billy.
It's all right. So you have to double the roll of the damage, did you say?
Of just the dice, and then you can add anything on top of that.
So I've rolled a 3 because it's a d4 plus... was it dex or strength?
Strength.
Your strength modifier, and that was a +1. Yeah, so that's a 4 with strength, and you don't double that, did you say?
So you double the dice, but either way,
6,
as
7.
you rear yourself up and just bring your fist across, you just sort of raise your bow as you just come down, and both your hooves just hit the head of this creature, which dissipates beneath you and just folds out onto the floor. It is gone, and you are once again alone on the highest portion of the temple.
One thing I was wondering, do I get advantage because I'm on a higher ground?
You wouldn't get advantage.
Okay. Just a question because I wasn't sure.
I don't. Let me just check. But I don't think there's any additional effects for. Yeah.
I use my second attack and attack the Nyxborn, please.
Okay.
With my bow.
Yep.
That is +7, 21.
21. That definitely hits. Roll for damage.
Okay. Right. Gotta roll. So. There's a few things that happen. So it's a D. You take an extra D8, and is it? Didn't do that. Plus a D6 for the hunter's mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got those two. For some reason, I can't see where mine. Okay. I think it's a D8 for damage.
For your bow?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's right.
D8.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So 1. So damage is 1 plus 2 for... That's for the attack. Oh, no, it's for the damage. Bear with me.
That's okay.
Okay, so I rolled a 1, so that's something, and plus what do I have to damage? Plus Dex, that's +2, so that's 3, and I added D6, so that's 7, and why do I have Colossus Slayer? Because that's an extra D8, so that's 7. 11 damage.
11 damage. Okay.
11 damage.
So, while your attack doesn't necessarily do as much damage as you'd hope, nevertheless, the arrow flies loose and it hits the creature in the back. And as it does so, as it gets to the top of its turn, the shadow here, the shadowy Ajar, is going to run forwards towards you, Ionis, and is going to try and attack you with a natural 20, I'm afraid. So, that will be... 9 points of necrotic damage, and your strength is reduced by 2. So as it reaches forward, it just grabs you, quite a bit taller than you, and you just feel your life force seem to drain from you a little bit. And as you do so, you look at your hand once more, and you see it sort of flicker in and out a little bit, but you feel weaker. Nevertheless, you are standing. And meanwhile, up on the middle bough, the Nyxborn is going to, as you're in front of it, going to reach out to you, Marillion. Could you make a charisma saving throw for me, please?
Oh, it's at the bottom. Okay. 10.
10. You all watch as she blinks out of existence and she is gone. She is nowhere to be seen as you just see the Nyxborn stood above Hiro. Marillion. Suddenly, the temple from around you is gone, and instead it is replaced with deep, dark blue surrounding you. As you look around, you realize you are stood amongst a field of stars. Shimmering formations of pink, purple, and green twist in the space between glimmering white orbs of light. And ahead of you, stood in the middle of these stars, you see a young girl in a white robe.
Can I act?
Yeah, you can.
Does it look like Hiro?
Make a perception check.
Natural 20.
It looks exactly like her. It is the girl from the temple, and it is the girl from your vision.
How far away is she?
Not that far. Sort of maybe 15 feet or so.
I'll put my warhammer on my back and just slowly approach. Is she facing my direction?
She's facing away from you at the moment.
So I'm going to circle round.
As you do so, you find that your steps, it's almost like moving through water, yet it is effortless. And you are moving as quickly as you would on land. And as you do so, you see stars coming off you. And you see the twisting auroras all around, twisting and turning in these symbiotic-like movements, and colour everywhere. And as you come round, the little girl's green eyes look up to you. You came. You came! And she runs forward and puts her arms around you and just hugs you, hugs your waist, and buries her head into your chest.
Well, how tall?
She's like, around, like she comes up to your collarbone, I'd say.
Okay.
Tall 8-year-old.
Yeah.
They grow fast.
Let's go home.
I don't know if I can.
Did you come here on your own?
I don't. I just remember the first time. The first time I had a nightmare on this island. And she came for me. I don't know. But she came in my dreams and you saved me.
Oh, I wouldn't say that yet.
No, you saved me that first night, and all 5 of you did, and every night we'd run and we'd play, and you kept the darkness at bay. But then it came back. But now you're here. You're here. I knew you'd come again. I knew you would.
When you say she looked like kind of shadowy.
Yeah. She hides. She hides in the darkness of my dreams. And I can't get away from her. I've tried, but you're all that helps. The 5 of you.
I'm gonna kneel down, which makes me definitely shorter than her. And take both her hands. I have dreams as well.
You do?
I have really nasty dreams.
I am sorry.
But sometimes those dreams don't come true. because I've been given the dreams so that I can stop them.
Maybe that's why I was given you.
Maybe you don't need me. Maybe you can stop your own dreams.
She looks at you, and she nods. Back in the real world, the rest of you still are faced with lightning and thunder all around you, and Ajar, it is your turn as Marillion has disappeared from the temple.
I think what I will do is I will use Cloak of Stars to gather the stars of the Nyx around me, which will give disadvantage to all attack rolls against me.
Okay.
I thought you were just saying all attack rolls.
Yeah. I get like
Isn't that
10
just
attacks,
like the same?
All
I
of
get 10
them
attack
forever.
and they're all advantage, and plus D100, and I'm perfect, and I get the crown.
And also I have permanent hit points of 1,000.
Yeah. It's all great. And then I would like to go sort of to where sort of Hiro and the Nyx Spawn sort of are.
Mm-hmm.
How is Hiro reacting exactly the same now that I'm going to say your name wrong.
Try, Jess. I'd like to see you try.
You've got it in my head.
Because I hadn't
right?
said it out loud before this session, so I was like, all these names are great, they're lovely, and then the moment I try and say it, I'm like,
I'll
it's in
type
my
it.
brain, this is like...
I'll send it on the chat thing so you can see how it's spelled. And then probably
It's just-
still get it wrong.
Ed's got it in my head. He's just... Marillion, yeah, that's what I said. Marillion. Now Marillion has left. Marillion, the one that we love, called Marillion by her parents. I assume. Now she has left. Is Hiro reacting the same, or is she different?
Make a perception check for me.
I will indeed. Let me just check what the hell my perception modifier is. Pretty alright, cool. Let's roll a virtual dice. 14.
14. She still looks much the same as she did earlier. She's staring at the ground and her hair cascades down her face, and she is rocking, but you do note it has stilled somewhat.
Yeah.
She seems rather more staid.
Obviously, I've used my action for the Cloak of Stars. I would assume trying to pick her up would be another action rather than a bonus action.
Yeah, I'd say you can certainly make a start so that at the beginning of your next turn you can do that immediately. But yeah, I'd say...
That would be a full action. I think that's a fair assessment to make.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cheat and be like, and then I do all this thing.
And then I put her on my back and I ride away! Irene, it's your go.
Okie dokie. Is it raining?
Is it what?
Or
sorry?
is it raining? Or is there any water?
No, just thunder and lightning from above.
Okay.
No rain.
There's no water nearby.
It doesn't seem to be. The top of the temple is very dry.
Excellent. Okay, in that case, I will get my crossbow out.
Okay.
And I'd like to make oh no, wait, that's an action. Heck. No, okay, completely ignore me.
Okay.
I'm going to take some coins
Okay.
out of my purse.
Okay.
Can I use those for catapult?
You can. Absolutely, you can.
Okay, I'm going to take 2 coins out, and
Okay.
I'm going to use Twinned Spell and spend 2 sorcery points so that I can target both the Nyxborn and the shadowy creature to the south of me.
Okay, sure thing. So they both need to make dex saves, is that right?
Yes, let me just double check. I think that's right. Yes, they will need to make dex saving throws.
Okay. So the shadow fails. The Nyxborn got 18.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Is that a saving throw that it just made?
It is.
Is that the first one it's made since the Bardic Inspiration thing?
It is, yes.
Can you roll a d8 and take that off that save then, please?
I can, absolutely I can. -7, so it's an 11.
Oh my goodness! It gets hit!
Yes!
Yay!
So
I'm going to cast Catapult at 2nd level, so it'll take 4d8.
Okay.
Bludgeoning damage. So
I forgot how powerful Catapult is.
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
I mean, I'm scrubbing the shadow off as we speak. Because you could get one on all
we
of them.
don't know yet. So that's 4d8, so that's 8. 10.
Shadow's gone.
16 plus 7.
23.
23. So it's 23, both of them take 23.
Okay, so the Ajar shadow before you, Ionis, just dissipates in coins that fling over the side.
My children!
There we go. And they batter machine gun-like into the Nyxborn, just flying through, and you see tendrils of smoke rising out, and it needs to make concentration save, which it fails with a natural 1. And so, slamming back, sort of, because it's where you are now stood, Ajar, just flopping down onto your back. So Marillion just lands, and your little legs are sort of dangling on either side of this horse torso as you just look around. And this very much isn't where you were to begin with, but like, it's fine. And you can see Hiro still on the ground. Just before that, in the dreamscape, you feel a pull and a tug, and you are still next to Hiro, and she is holding your hands, and she can feel you tugging, and she goes, are you going?
I think... Oh, sorry, my voice is not that loud. I think it's time you came with me.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, I have okay wisdom. So I shouldn't have used my inspiration. That would have been a really nice moment to use it. Oh well. 18.
Taking her hands, she just grasps yours. Do you think I'm going to be okay?
I had one of those dreams about you, Hiro. So that means I think we've got a pretty good chance.
She just smiles at you, and gripping your hands, you feel the tug as you back and landing on the back of Ajar. And as you look down at Hiro, you can see her hands clasped against her head slowly begin to lighten a bit. So, we're back to the top of the round. Ionis, it is your go. As Marillion... Marillion lands back on top of Ajar, and your new companion and your old companion are now in the same space, facing down against the Nyxborn.
Okay, when I see Marillion reappear, I just go, thank fuck for that. Didn't want to be dealing with that again. And can I jump to the other platform using a mirthful leap?
Yeah, absolutely. Make an athletics check for me.
Oh, good. That is cocked.
Have I lost my rage?
Okay.
I would say yeah.
Okay.
12.
12. You leap, and you sort of like, much like mountain goats as they're climbing, you sort of like skitter against it a bit as you pull yourself up by your arms, but you are on the middle platform.
Okay.
Along with
and
everyone
then,
else except for Sasa, who is still stood at top, training her bow on the Nyxborn.
Okay. Can I then place a 20-foot radius sphere that will take in both the Nyxborn and Hiro, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then can you make charisma saving throws for both of them for me?
So that's 10 for Hiro, and that's charisma, was that?
Yeah.
That's a 23 for the Nyxborn.
Okay, so the Nyxborn succeeds, that's fine.
Okay.
Hiro fails, and I cast Calm Emotions.
Okay.
So I choose the effect, which means that I can suppress her being charmed or frightened.
Okay. So as she calms and looks up at you, this new goat-legged figure who leaps up and so drags himself on to where everyone else is, she looks at you, and as she does so, there is a look of recognition in her eyes as she smiles, and she looks around at all of you, one by one by one, looking round the entire space. And as she looks at each of you, her grin only gets larger. And she turns round at the Nyxborn, and she just stands, looking at it. And you can see that the creature before her, shadowy and enveloped in blackness, looks at all of you and back at her, and it has never looked more scared. Is there anything else you want to do?
And can I use my bonus action to do Bardic Inspiration, which will, for Sasa. And I'll do kicked a full 180, crazy. She'll boot the head right off this guy. Now it's time to fly, you arrow, right into the sky. So you get a D8.
Yay! That's
So-
for saving. Was that for saving throws?
Saving throws and attacks, my friend.
All right, cool.
So, Marillion, it is your go as you've come back into the real world and you are on the back of Ajar. Hiro looking fortified by everyone's presence, and the Nyxborn just sort of backing away a little bit against the edge of the platform as little bits of rubble and mosaic fall from the top of the floor all the way down to the mountaintop below.
So my warhammer is still stowed on my back, so I'm going to reach back and I'm going to pull out a javelin, and I'm going to throw the javelin.
Okay, throw the javelin.
Which is, it's not melee, is it? So I don't get my bonus
No, unfortunately.
from rage.
I mean, to be fair, you're right in front of it and you're mounted, so you could use it as a lance if you wanted to.
Ooh, yes.
Melee it?
So I'll rage and then I'll do that.
Okay.
16.
16. That doesn't hit, I'm
Okay,
afraid.
I'll do it again.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
That hits. Roll for damage.
Is it the same damage, presumably, as a lance? If I'm holding, like a javelin is a d6. So it's
Yeah, I'd say d6. Yeah.
Yay! Full damage. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay. So.
Oh, and also the.
And the thunder.
Yeah, so dex save.
That's an 11.
Ooh. Okay, 8 plus, sorry, maths.
That's okay.
Efficiency plus constitution. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is my DC.
Okay, so it fails.
4.
4 points of
lightning.
thunder damage. Lightning damage. Okay. The creature is looking very much the worse for wear, as from the top of Agar's back, Marillion just plunges the javelin down into the shadowy creature, and you see lightning just thunder down from above and crack inside the creature. It is bloating and it is moving in every direction, and it looks very, very scared. So Sasa, it is your go as you look upon all of this from on high.
I would like to attack twice, please. Just straight attack. Does it count that it is flanked since we are on all sides?
It is, but that only applies to melee attacks, so ranged are just straight attacks.
Well, yeah, I was thinking whether I should jump down or not, but I think I'll stay where I am.
You can give it a go.
I'll stay where I am and fire arrows straight down.
Never trust that tone.
That is a dirty 20.
That hits. Roll for damage.
So it's... Okay, I roll a d8 and a d6. So that's 7 plus dex is 8 damage.
8 damage. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're making another attack?
Second attack.
Mm-hmm.
That is an 18.
That hits exactly, so roll for damage.
That's 9 plus 1. That is a 10.
10. So... Both arrows don't seem to do as much damage as you would like, but nevertheless they both... And unlike the previous ones, which have either hit or fallen short of the mark, these ones stay. Most of your other hits have dissipated, the arrows seem to have corroded away into shadow, but these stay, and the creature is now on the ground, and you can see that it is slowly shrinking and shrinking down. It is no longer a terrifying creature of smoke. It is a small shadow of a little girl. Hiro kneels before you, her black hair turning into smoke at the bottoms, and her eyes looking up with dark black light. And she looks towards all of you, and she suddenly looks like a very, very scared little girl looking at all of you. She doesn't appear to be doing anything.
How's the real version reacting?
She is just stood there looking at this version of herself, which looks...
Is she not on Agar with me?
No, she's not. She's next to you.
I would like to jump down as part of my movement, please.
Okay. I'd say make an athletics check for that.
That is 12.
12. You sort of have to navigate your way down a little bit, and jumping down, your hoof just gives a little bit, and you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage, but it's not so much that you can't shake it off. But you join this group, sort of looking around in a semicircle at Hiro and the shadowy Hiro that sits on the floor. Her arms are tightly wound around her knees, and she's just looking up at all of you, her hair swinging from side to side, and she looks very, very scared.
Can I be on the other side of Hiro, please?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you. And obviously looking down, obviously amidst battle, but I put my hand on Hiro.
Hiro looks up at you and gives a big grin and just places her hand on yours. And you can see the clouds above are beginning to dissipate, and you feel the temple slowly beginning to descend until there is a quite uncomfortable as it lands on the top of the mountain. Still very disjointed. The different platforms are sort of at different levels, but they are no longer airborne. And as you look down at the shadowy Hiro, she looks up at you, and you can see tears of smoke just coming from down her eyes, and I just didn't think I was good enough. Every day I worried I wasn't good enough. I worried that I was worthless. I worried that I wasn't worth saving. The world scares me sometimes. I just didn't think, and she looks at the other Hiro, I didn't think you or me deserved to be happy. She just looks at the ground as you all stand around her.
The world can be a very scary place. But do not be afraid of that fear.
You know, before, it was enough to just imagine heroes. Imagine heroes to beat back the darkness. But I don't know if it's that simple anymore. What if this darkness is in me always?
I think sometimes when you look for heroes, and perhaps the darkness swells around you, maybe you are the hero that needs to hold the darkness back.
And the shadowy hero stands and looks at all of you. And as this is happening, you hear from behind you, and you feel something land on the temple. And as you look back, you can see that Iris is there with Artemisia on her back, just looking at all of this. And as you stand there and look back to the real hero who looks, she walks forward and she clasps hand with the shadow in front of her. It's all right. It's going to be all right. And she just steps forward and places her arms around her double and slowly brings her in until the shadow dissipates into her chest and her arms and her legs. And you are left alone with Hiro standing in front of you. And Artemisia jumps off Iris behind you, and all of you are stood alone in the middle of the temple. And Artemisia runs forward and grabs a hold of Hiro and hugs her, and she looks up at all of you and goes, "Thank you. Thank you so much. Are you okay?" And Hiro looks up at her, and you can see that Iris is getting closer, and she lies down and seems to be looking at each of you.
What are you?
And there is silence as wind blows over the temple. What are you doing?
I'd like to get off of Ajar.
You dismount.
Just an awkward slide down.
I'm not quite sure whether I should be offended or not, to be honest.
I'm just going to give like a little pat.
You're very welcome.
I'm just like stood off to one side, like still buzzing with like thunder. You know,
there's a little bit of lightning just coming off your fingertips, and you can feel like, whew. I mean, you don't get to do this often, especially on dry land. It's exhilarating.
Nope. I am pumped.
But Hiro looks in the direction of Iris and says, "They're my friends. They came." And Iris looks at all of you and just walks forward and seems to gaze into each of your eyes one by one. And as she does so, she just stands to her full height.
5 heroes, willed into being by imagination. Yet here you stand. You exist in the now, yet you have always been. You have lives you have led, history, loved ones. It should take a city or even a continent to do such a thing. But here you stand, each of you called into being from a singular, beautiful imagination. I did not think I would live to see such a riddle for myself.
I knew the answer wasn't time.
The answer was the past, which stretches out behind you, just as it seems your future stretches ahead of you. You are fascinating. So, who are you?
Who the girl needed.
And Artemisia looks up at you. Well, what will you do now? You're welcome to stay or to go.
Hiro, what do you think?
She looks at you all. I just want you to live.
In that case, we will come back at some point and give you tales of our adventures.
I would like that. I'd like that a lot.
I take the necklace from around my neck and I put it around Hiro's neck.
She looks at it and just grins up at all of you and thank you so much. Thank you.
Until next time.
I hope it's soon.
I don't.
Yeah, just in an aside to Marilyn, I just go, are they saying that we weren't real before this? I'm confused. I feel real. Do you feel real?
I feel as real as I've ever felt.
I think I need to get drunk.
I'll support you in that.
The hangover will make me feel real.
As I get to where we came in, first of all, I stop and do I hear Marilyn say that she would like a drink?
It's not me. It was Ionis that wanted a drink.
All right. Well, did you say you feel?
I said I'd support him in that.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
She very much supports my drinking.
Did I hear that?
I said it pretty quietly, kind of out of the corner of my mouth.
Okay. I'd say make a perception check, Billy, in that case.
Perception is 14.
Let's say you hear murmuring, and you certainly hear the word drink, but it's hard to tell exactly, but you get the sense of probably what they're saying.
I don't turn around, and I take out my lute, and I just say in a loud voice, there might be some dwarves I pass across on my travels, and they might still be around. I hear they have great ale and perhaps some whiskey. And I so softly strum my lute and start to hum as I go down the stairs.
I think that's her way of saying that we're friends now.
You can also make some quite good wine from mushrooms.
You see, as you approach the edge of the temple, Odigosh comes out from behind one of the pillars and looks up at all of you. And you can see him look over towards where Hiro is, and you see his ears just perk up a bit.
but seeing you come to the top of the steps, just looks up at you and...
I cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
Oh no! Why?
I cast Speak with Animals.
Good luck, Ed.
And I look at Odysseys and say, thank you.
You helped find her. Thank you. You gave my friend back.
Take in the forest and I have plenty of time to play. Life is too short to always think about the bad things that could happen.
Gives an affirmative nod, and with that, scurries over to where Hiro is, and all but crushes her as he leaps on top of her, and she just, Odie, and he gets off, and you all stand silhouetted by the setting sun in the distance. As you look down on the Isle of Pytho, the beach off in the distance, and your ship still there. And as you descend the stairs, on the way back to the ship, is there anything you want to do before you head off?
Pick up my shoes.
They're still on the beach. They're still there.
I start jotting notes down for a song called The Gaze of the Storm.
Mm-hmm. So, as you leap up onto the ship, it seems to, of its own accord, drift away. This green-eyed boat with white sails off into the sea. As the five of you head off, all of you with your own histories, with your own futures, with the time you have now. You head off to adventures new. But for now, come, travel. Run through the fields and forests of this world. Swim through the waters of the Siren Sea. Soar through the skies above and rise into the dark and infinite skies. Amongst the very stars themselves, where stories and legends and myths and the stories of heroes are written. Your stories. And where they will forever be written. This is your world. This is Theros. And it is only the beginning. And it is also the end. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed. This has obviously been our first delving into Theros, and it's somewhere that after not even getting halfway through the book, because it is weighty and it is impressive and it is wonderful and it's gorgeous. I hope we get to visit it again. We hope you all enjoyed. If you want to pre-order the book, you can do so through D&D. We'll link it below. It's also available digitally on D&D Beyond. A lot of very talented people have worked on the book, and that is evident. It pours out of every single page and piece of artwork and every word. We can't recommend it enough. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and thank you for all the heroes that you create. We need them now more than ever, just as we need you. So thank you very much. As always, like and subscribe, and we will see you next week for our regularly scheduled chaos. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.